Before we start, the name is at the top right of the screen. Our female protagonist is currently about to demolish a single-family home. She is operating an excavator. The reason is absurd. It's because the author killed off her favorite character. It was the fantasy military novel by the author Park Myung called The Dawn of Repentance. It briefly became a hot topic in the early stages of serialization due to intense action scenes, churning out 10 episodes a day as if it were a factory, but its remarkable readability, marked by one sentence per paragraph, along with scathing critiques, it became a legendary novel that drove early readers wild. However, there were readers who couldn't let go of this trash novel, even up to episode 3504, including 30 or more people like herself. The reason they couldn't let go of the poorly written novel was simple. The settings and characters in this novel felt so real, as if they actually existed. The author was truly a killer when it came to creating settings. They were real otaku for it. She was such a passionate fan of the author to the point of even becoming the representative of the fan cafe, but she decides even that's over. After today, the author should not have sent her favorite character Sion off like that. She thought to herself, her prince doing such dirty deeds, surviving all the way to episode 3503, and they killed that poor kid off with just some measly disease? Yeah, she could understand Mitchell killing off Mitchell by a car, but what really got to her was the fact that the author teased a solo episode for her favorite Saiyan in advance. More excited than usual, she checked the latest episode. However, she received an unexpected surprise gift in the form of her favorite character's death. To her, the author undoubtedly became a devil. And so, with gratitude in her heart, she is on her way to repay the author with the destruction of their house. Suddenly, a screen appears in front of her, causing her to be startled and wondering, what is this? Why did the TV suddenly turn on? It shows the breaking news in the heart of the city. It is breaking news, and the breaking news says that in the heart of the city, a significant tremor has occurred, and with many more appearing. This irritates her because it's noisy, and she starts banging on the excavator window. As the window splinters from the impact of her fists, she produces a piercing shriek of surprise, realizing in that moment of shock that she has borrowed the excavator from another party, and it is rightfully owned by someone else. She apologizes to the owner, whose expressions are contorted in pure fury. She thinks to herself, but since the owner has never experienced the absurd date of their favorite character, the owner may not understand. She snaps out of her thoughts when she hears the owner's voice apologizing, caught off guard by the unexpected gesture. She asks him, she is the one who should be sorry, so why is he apologizing? It is because he believes, since it's already too late to undo it, they should just go and receive some divine protection. Her mouth drops open, her eyes widen in shock as she struggles to grasp the meaning behind his mention of divine protection, bewildered by his sudden shift into archaic language. She flinches in shock when she realizes she was just hallucinating about the owner. She wonders, is she losing her mind because it's late and she is tired? She strikes herself in the head with considerable force and tells herself to snap out of it, reminding herself she has to destroy the author's house. Suddenly, her vision blurs, and all she can perceive is a profound abyss of black darkness. She chastens herself that she should not just hit her head recklessly. But to her horror, as soon as she thought that, she opened her eyes. The steering wheel that was in her hand disappeared and countless memories just brushed past her. Perplexed, she wonders, what is this? The memories that come to her mind are not the ones she has experienced. She wonders, could it be that she has gone crazy from stress because of the author? It seems quite plausible that's what is annoying her. As she drove the excavator on the highway, she found herself transformed into Mitchell Nephthys. Not only that, but she was also in a state of being imprisoned. Mitchell Nephthys is a character from the Dawn of Repentance. She is the daughter of Nephthys Duke and the heiress of the Nephthys Dukedom. She is known for her magical abilities. She is the owner of silky silver hair and azure eyes like a lake. In the story, she is a notorious villain known for her widespread infamy and nefarious deeds. She is commonly referred to as the Madwoman of Nephthys, but above all else, the most important thing is that Mitchell is one of her favorite characters. The fierceness of her personality was beyond description. She even pressured Sion, who was a prince, to marry her. It then comes back to her vividly, as if it had just happened yesterday. Mitchell lured the drunken Sion out of the palace banquet hall and into the bedroom. She then pushed Sion on to bed with such cheesy lines. At that moment Sion, boasting his impressive 29-inch waistline, led down his long black hair which cascaded down to his slim waist. Like a condemned prisoner, tears fell from his dark and deep eyes as he spoke. He silently whispered, "Wouldn't it be better if she just did as she pleased?" This confuses our female protagonist because according to her, at that moment Sion was supposed to reject Mitchell. She wonders why there is a discrepancy between the novel's content and Mitchell's memories. She cannot help but ask herself what on earth happened. She now realizes the author has left out something so important. And if the author wishes to give a surprise gift, he then at least should reveal this episode. Feeling unhappy that she could not destroy the house. Anyway, she sets her mind back to the present because she is now Mitchell. She thinks about her current situation, that she is currently imprisoned. Well, in reality, even in Sen, there's no job for orphans, so it's all the same. Her mind then ponders the perplexing question of why she suddenly found herself possessing another individual. She then recalls the last thing she heard from the owner, who said since it's already too late to undo it, she should just go and receive divine protection. She can't help but contemplate if the hallucination she heard before hitting her head sent her here. She sarcastically adds, "Well, thanks for transmigrating her into the novel." But why? At this moment of all times, the fact that Mitchell is currently imprisoned means she's as good as death. Because in the original story, Mitchell taunts and pressures Sion, and is sentenced to death for insulting the royal family, ultimately dying in episode 121. She thinks so the fact that Mitchell is still alive means it's right before facing the death penalty. But whoever's body she is possessing, she still considers herself a dedicated reader who endured this fallen novel for 3,504 episodes. To her, who knows every detail of the setting, this kind of crisis is nothing to her. The system shows the screen of Mitchell's status. The death row is currently under the protection of Ursh. Experience points are 0. She beams, thinking that is the status window they only get to see in novels. She wonders where she can see it. Having 2 uncommon attack skills is rare. She is surprised. She even has an ultra-rare skill. The skill name is Fusion. She ponders perhaps the reason why her memories and Mitchell's memories have got mixed up is because of the fusion. Her eyes then narrow at the death status. She wonders why is she on a death row. Her jaw clenches in frustration as she tries to find out why she's suddenly on a death row. At least that should be explained to her, right? Suddenly the system updates and her execution date is announced. It's on D3. She realizes she is the death row inmate, so being on that row makes sense. She is aware right before death. It's natural for some abnormalities to appear in the status. She thinks although there are still 3 days left, if she just gives up like that, there might not be any miracles. She decides first. She can only politely pray for a miracle to happen. Since a while ago, she has been desperately trying to beg for help desperately, but she doesn't know why her tone is suddenly like a historical drama. The screen of the system appears in front of her again. It shows her the dignity of the noble. It states nobles did not bow to just anyone, and as a member of the Nephthys ducal family. One bows only to the nobility of the empire. She thinks to herself, what kind of thing is that? She then mumbles under her breath. Indeed, people are not suited for doing things that don't fit them. She decides from now on she will do things her way. She strikes her feet against the cell. She screams at them and questions, if those guys are deaf, can't they hear she's asking them to save her? She promises them she will do as they say, so please, they should get her out of here. Later in the carriage she is beaming because she is successfully released after overcoming many hardships. Even though she was expelled from the noble list by imperial decree and rejected by both the family and the empire, she became stateless. Even that wasn't enough. After being whipped 5 times, she was finally set free. Her back felt like it was about to burst, and she felt like vomiting, but she was okay. Now that the death row status has been lifted, she has survived. In the original, rather than discarding the family name, she could not escape the death penalty, but instead chose death. However, she thinks, but she's not like that now. She is determined to be alive no matter what happens. However, what she does not know is Mitchell's death sentence has been resentenced to D1. In the carriage, she is sitting still and has her eyes closed because now she will just wait until she arrives home. She decides she should invest in her experience. Actually, when she was released from prison and had her death status lifted, experience points came in under a strange pretext. Perhaps because she changed the development of Mitchell's death in the original work. She did not expect to perceive experience points like this, but for her, who knows everything about the novel, she already has plans for which directions to invest her skills. She decides for now she should go all in on freeze. In Dawn of Repentance, the system on reaching level 10 in a skill upgrades it to a superior skill. And since Mitchell already possesses the beginner skill, Freeze as an ice mage, investing in the Freeze skill right now to acquire the ice magic skills is a priority. If things go according to plan, using freezing to earn money by subjugating monsters would be possible. Even if she is stateless, she won't have to worry about making ends meet. So for now, finding a means to make money is the priority. When she arrives at the Nephthys townhouse, she rushes to home, thinking since she just got expelled from the Duke's house. Soon the story will be heard by Mitchell's parents, the Duke and Duchess of Nephthys. She ponders before she gets kicked out with nothing, she will just take all her luxury items and leave. Selling just a few of the jewels should be enough to sustain her for a while. When she goes through Mitchell's stuff, she wonders why did she collect gems instead of hoarding gold, which is much easier to convert into money. Still, this much amount is quite substantial. Suddenly, the door swings open. Her teeth clatter in frustration as she glances behind her to see who it is. Scared that it might be the Duke and Duchess. But it's her nanny Elena Leaf. She thinks that this person ran after her after hearing the news. She has been raising Mitchell since she was a child. She raised her like her own child, scolding her whenever she got herself into trouble. For Mitchell, she's like her own mother. Her gaze falls on the injury on her exposed back, and she demands to know how she got blood on her back. Mitchell cannot believe she's worried about her as soon as she got here. As she was someone who was special to Mitchell, our female protagonist also liked her just as much as she liked any other protagonist, so seeing her in person makes her eyes teary. Mitchell realizes it's way more joyful and touching than she expected. She ends up in her arms, crying her eyes out. She admits it really hurts. Elena asks her what is going on. What's all this ruckus? She heard that something serious happened. She demands to know if she really received disciplinary action. First, Mitchell wants to know if she's on her side. She promises her, of course, no matter what happens. She then admits that she almost got sentenced to death for trying to attack the prince. Elena places her hand on her chest in a state of shock. But Mitchell continues that having severed ties with the Duke's house and been deprived of her noble status, she has become a stateless person without any status and having to live without an identity. The nanny stands motionless for several moments, but then suddenly she raises her hand with the intention to strike her. Mitchell states that if she slaps her in the back, she will die and reminds her that she said she was on her side. She asks her through clenched teeth what she is now planning to do in the future. Raising her hand in a shrugging manner, she replies she can do labor that even a stateless person can do, and there's no rule that says she will have to die. She questions how she can say something so easily when she hasn't done anything even remotely hard. She doesn't have a reply to that because of course it is easy to say. She thinks there is no way that a person must die because this is an experience story. Mitchell might have grown up noble in the Duke's house, but she is different. When she was young, she was taken in by an aunt after her parents died. After her aunt took all parents' inheritance, there was no part-time job she had not done so that she could live. Dishwashing, serving. She did everything. Even when her living expenses were low, she somehow just managed to survive. She believes compared to back then, the current situation isn't much different. Moreover, in just 3 more years, Mitchell will also become an adult and will be able to handle things. She then confesses for now she's planning on taking whatever she can and run away. Elena observes her silently for a while and then announces that she has got to go get something, so she should hold on a minute. While waiting, she wonders what she is going to get. Is she trying to give her some money? And that even when she just has a mouse's tail of a salary, does she have any other belongings tucked away? But to her surprise, she brings her suitcase, announcing that if she leaves, then she will leave too. Mitchell freaks out thinking, so she just went to get her baggage. She tries to tell the nanny to calm down, but she interrupts her, declaring that she will do whatever it takes to keep her alive. So they should go together, and when they get to her hometown, they can even stay at her sister's old empty house. Elena also reminds her she doesn't know what the world is like yet, so that's why she thinks she can survive alone. Mitchell narrows her eyes at her, unable to say she knows very well how to. She thinks to herself, no, it's actually her who does not know how the world is. To sweeten the deal, Elena adds that she has no idea how much pension she could receive as compensation for raising the Duke's child, and she herself cannot even estimate. Mitchell assures her she really doesn't have to, and claims she can live well on her own too. But once again she is cut off by her nanny, who claims but she cannot live. If Mitchell dies, she dies too. Bursting out in tears, she screams at her why would she live without her? Mitchell is momentarily stunned by her affection for her. She then announces they should go, grabbing Mitchell's hand in haste. Mitchell tries for one last time for her to reconsider, but she stubbornly reminds her that no matter what she says she will still follow her. Knowing she won't budge, Mitchell changes the topic and announces while they're at it, they should also visit the Savoy Hotel from Treasure Island and take the treasure map with them. Elena comments she was wondering if she had fixed her bad personality because she somehow survived, but she's still the same. While collecting the treasures, Mitchell thinks she even intimidated the Prince of the Empire. They can handle reading a treasure trove. Above all, she does have the key to the treasure trove, which only the legitimate heirs of Nephthys can use. For her, this is a legitimate treasure hunt. She may have just been stripped off her status, but she can handle this much. Stepping out of the mansion, they find a carriage taxi. Once settled inside the carriage, Mitchell complains about her back, groaning in pain. She questions what kind of carriage shakes like this. Her back hurts so much. But Elena is not listening. She seems somewhere far away in her thoughts. But then she snaps out of it and addresses Mitchell, giving something to her. It's a child's biochip. She discloses with this chip she can live again as a citizen of the Empire. She warns, although it is inappropriate to say this, but she raised her as her own child. Although her child could not use it, she would like it if she uses it. Mitchell's gaze holds softness as she looks at her nanny. In the Crowell Empire, once a person is registered as a citizen after birth, a biochip made of magic stones is implanted in the body to prove one's identity. And this chip must have been used by the nanny's child who died early on. Unable to dispose of it with her own hands, she kept it all this time. Mitchell realizes she gave her such a precious object. She expresses her gratitude to Nanny and promises her she will cherish it. She also declares that in that case, since she has become her daughter on paper, she will call her mom. Elena flinches in surprise and asks how could a lowly person like her even dare. She blackmails her nanny that she won't take it, and even threatens that she will throw it away. Bringing it closer to the window side, she asks if she should just throw it away. Elena yelps in surprise, but reluctantly agrees that she can do as she pleases, but she will keep calling her miss. Mitchell raises her fist in the air in victory and declares now she has a mom. Elena stays true to her words, referring to her as miss and asking back for the biochip to keep it safe. Mitchell quickly agrees, addressing her as mom. She then asks her, but to implant this, does she have to go to the city and find someone? And how much does it cost? Suddenly, a sharp pain shoots through her arm as the nanny strikes her. She demands the nanny that if she's going to do something like this, at least she should be given a warning. Elena counters that she has to do it unexpectedly so she doesn't get scared. She questions her nanny, can't she see she's screaming because she's scared? Mitchell Nephthys is 1 hour before the retrial for death row. Mitchell grabs her arms as she mentions that her back hurts so bad, but now her arms hurt too. Elena tells her to verify if the biochip is functioning correctly. She states that her child's name was Evan Leaf. Mitchell ponders that it is not a bad name. She wonders what kind of skills does she have this time. The blue screen appears as she wonders if this is Mitchell's status. She wonders if there has been some kind of collision or conflict, although as she thinks about it, she is aware it is not mentioned in the original work. Having one person with 2 biochips is an interesting concept. She wonders could it be that it is just too old for her to recognize, just in case she decides to look in the direction where the chip is embedded. It appears as she mentions that Evan's biochip was newly implanted in her right arm, and she was able to launch a 1 status window with her right arm and Mitchell status window with her left arm. A1 thinks that she's going back and forth again, and it seems like she's in a good mood. Mitchell wonders if Evan is excited because it feels like she's looking for a completely hidden setting. As she looks at Evan's scales, his status is time limited and his training level is 8 to 800 until next level up. Reading level is 8 to 800 until next level up. And can do anything for a living. She thinks about training and writing. To her, it seems like it is leaning towards a specific field, but she decides to skip over that for now. Another skill is that it quickly increases the experience required when leveling up. Mitchell wonders, what is this legendary skill, she thinks. Is not this a skill that nobles usually have? There is nothing one cannot do to make a living, and it makes acquiring skills relatively easy. She thinks even without attack skills, she still have high-performance top-tier skills, and she's so amazing that Evan Leaf is awesome. She really thought there was no one else formidable as him. She looks at Evan's status as she wonders why is this attached. Elena asks her if it is still not recognized. Mitchell responds, no, it popped up properly. Elena becomes surprised as she questions if that is really the case. She states that if Mitchell is registered as an imperial citizen, she would not be able to live a normal life normally. Mitchell is aware that she lived her whole life in comfort, and from now on she has to live like a rat living in the countryside. She wonders if anyone had any disease. If that is the case, it causes her to think, is not this practically over there? Dawn has been reset that upon failing to enter the Crowley Academy. She is surprised as, after some time, Elena tells her it is dangerous and asks her why is she doing this. She sits in the carriage as she thinks that they should first come down as she has already lifted the time-limited condition 1. And she should not overthink about it first. She wonders why not follow that down. She calls out to Elena and states she thinks that she should go to the academy next year. Elena responds, all right, she will prepare everything for admission. She asks Mitchell to only trust her. Mitchell has tears in her eyes as she ponders. The academy's admission fee alone is 100 million crowns, but her nanny could not even secure her retirement pay. How is she going to raise that large amount of money? Elena tells her as soon as she enters school she will succeed in life. My child is aware that the problem is that ambition is difficult, and it is not like she is going to enroll tomorrow. She is aware all she has to do is to make some money somehow. She thinks, of course, if she has that much talent to enroll Crowell Academy. As a commoner, she must be incredibly smart, fight incredibly well, or maybe be a good magician. In any case, she has to do extremely well. But if there is a bigger obstacle than that, that is the existence of the main couple in the original novel. From what she remembers, next year is the year those two enter the academy, and the academy that season was nothing short of a living hell. Because all kinds of dangerous devices were put in to help the main character grow. They accidentally activated the magic circle hidden in the academy's basement since the beginning of the semester, opening a dungeon gate. When they were close to graduating, they even summoned one of the 4 great demon kings. Moreover, because of the incident they let, it was said that the number of graduates of that year was only a few dozen. She knows even if she enrolled, it will be difficult for her to graduate alive, but she will die if she does not enroll. Even if she enrolls, there is a high probability that she will die. She is aware that it is definitely worth a try and knows first of all that is the method. She tells coachmen to stop at the first inn. She checks herself in the mirror as she ponders. It is very good. At first glance she looks like a perfect commoner, and if one's wondering why she ended up like this, it is because she barely briefly disguised herself as even. While stopping by the village, she knows it is hard to understand why someone would go to such lengths, but it was all unavoidable because she, Mitchell, is a very slender and beautiful girl, and she must avoid being noticed by others as much as possible. This was because there was a need to hide this brilliant silver hair and all-like face, so with the money raised by selling the money and valuables, she hid her shining beauty by buying clothes and glasses, subtly dull blue hair, unsophisticated round glasses, hair braided into 2 pigtails. Elena accidentally sticks a needle into her face as she becomes worried. Mitchell tells her to not worry and mentions that this dye will fade over time. She tells Elena to give her heads up next time and apologizes for startling her. She informed us, even the freckles meticulously engraved. Elena tells her that she is really the best at throwing shade. She mentions that Mitchell is the most unsophisticated girl that she has ever seen. Mitchell wonders if it is a compliment. Elena tells her yes, somehow she even smells like chicken poop. Mitchell asks her to leave it there. She wonders that if she looked like this, it would be difficult for even people who even knew Mitchell to recognize her. She wonders what on earth does she smell like. She thinks not everything is ready. They should get going as she gets inside the carriage, mentioning that it looks like it will be little while again. She sits down as she tells Elena that she does not want to get bored on the way, so why doesn't she tell her about her hometown? Eleonora responds, this is a list of port cities, and it is such a rural area that she probably have not even heard of. Mitchell is aware that Elena thinks she's a fool. She knows, speaking of Night, the king of beasts, it is a nearby city where a sparrow beast was caught in a trap and sold on the black market, and a bear beast goes up to the capital to find the sparrow beasts and becomes part of the protagonist group. Mitchell tells Elena that she has heard of it and questions is not that the place that were recently developed. She states that she heard it is near the Beast King Tower. Elena responds status right. They say that the scope of activities of Beast Kings and monsters has expanded recently. As Mesok grew in that area, there was more work to do, Elena ponders. It is said that the area around the monster habitat becomes a good environment for magic stones to grow. Mitchell responds it is magic stones. She is aware that magic stones are quite expensive, so if they mine them and sell them, it will work out good before Elena asks her what is she thinking of. Mitchell calls out to Elena and tells her they should go and buy a pickaxe. She's aware she has to earn admission fee. Elena responds that she knew it would be like this. Mitchell thinks that things done ought to be easier than she thought after that. After resting and going for several days, they finally arrived at their destination port city. Mitchell questions if this is the port city she heard it is a rural village. She flinches as Elena tells her that is right. It is a lot more developed than she thought. She finds it unbelievable that the population could easily exceed 10,000 people. She thinks that she was surprised because it was bigger than she imagined, but it does not mean that she does not understand. She's aware that since the sea is just around the corner there is a big advantage in being able to transport mine magic stone by sea. Elena grabs her hand and takes her, asking her to follow quickly. They stand outside of a house as Mitchell asks her if this is the house that her sister left behind. Elena responds yes, that is true, and she becomes down as she knows Mitchell, who lived in a huge mansion, would be living here. Michelle tells her that they should first unpack and say hello to their neighbors. In a small town like this, connections are more important. Elena responds yes, it is right before a man appears. The man questions them. Who is this? He questions, is that Elena? Our female lead asks what this is. Elena responds it is nothing and Mitchell doesn't have to worry about it. The man begins to laugh as he states she left, acting like she would never come back. Considering that she came back with a child, he asks her, does it seem like there was an accident in the capital? Mitchell questions, what is the matter with that man as she curses him? Elena tells her that they should just go in, and that is how he has always been. Mitchell glances at him as he tells her to not be rude. She mentions, is he not scared of a twisted old house with no safety devices? He states if two women live alone and something bad happens, wouldn't it be sad? That night, Mitchell goes outside with an axe as she ponders. If one is a decent citizen of the Empire, they must have at least one big axe. She was born to us is not unusual for such a situation to arise so suddenly. She thinks it is a good night to get into trouble. And even though that man is unable, she does not particularly like. She knows it is true that it is dangerous for two women to live alone, and she guesses that she should follow his advice and eliminate the risk factors. She is following that man as she thinks he's just the type of guy who starts an argument as soon as they meet, and they never know when or where they might pose a threat to them. She knows she cannot leave the guy who threatens the peace between her and her nanny alone. When Mitchell was young, she threw a tantrum to Duke Nephthys and started to raise a drake, a subspecies of dragons, as a pet animal. Young Mitchell took care of the dragon wholeheartedly by limited as well as providing it food to eat. However, after a year that breaks smashed and escaped from its cage due to Mitchell's negligence. It endured 20 people and was subjugated by the guards, and because of that incident, Mitchell was scolded harshly by the Duke. The reason that she is suddenly thinking about this is because Mitchell has a past record of injuring people. And talking about her, she used to work at an errant center before, so she also has a record of beating up several bad guys in the past to subdue them. This means that if these two people are combined together, they can beat a person to that. And that guy decided to mess with the wrong person. She points the hammer at that person as she ponders she should hit him then throw him in the sea after his body freezes. The man then yells it is all BS and mentions if she wants to live here then she should go find a good house downtown. She wonders who is he even talking about. He really stands up and states he is certain that she was fooled by someone because of her personality and everything was stolen from her. Mitchell ponders that she was wondering if he is going towards her house with a suspicious item, but she knows he was just taking care of them. She realizes he was just a normal and decent guy. She thinks that she almost caused trouble here on her first day in this place. She wonders, but what if he is just a tsundere guy, and she just wishes he would stop talking rudely. The next morning he asked her how is she planning to live in such a shabby house with a child. And questions cannot she walk properly. Elena asks him to just shut up if he's here to help her. Mitchell wonders what. As she thinks that he was actually close with her nanny, she realizes that she almost caused a big problem. Elena calls out to Mitchell and questions if it is noisy. She apologizes to her as Mitchell ponders. They are so close they did not even care even after knowing her real identity, even though they introduced her as her daughter in front of other people. Calls out to the man as he asks her what. She apologizes to him, causing him to wonder what he is apologizing for. She does not tell him much but states she's just sorry to him. He tells her that she is ruining his mood. Elena introduces him as Thomas. She mentions that he ran away from his house to become a pirate, but rarely managed to get a ship and came back again. He is just a piece of human trash living as a fisherman. Must becomes angry as he questions. What does she mean? Mitchell tells him it is nice to meet him and introduces herself also as a piece of trash who almost ruined someone's life. Elena becomes shocked as she questions. What does she mean that she's a piece of trash? She phoned us that she almost killed a person who did not do anything wrong, so she is trash and he is a fisherman who has a shape. So she is aware that if she does well, this might help her to earn some money. She tells him that she has throwing skills, so he asks her so what. She states she can catch the fish with the harpoon and mentions that he should let her in his ship. Elena opposes it. She tells her that she does not know how scary the sea can be. Tom also states that she is still too young to be a seafarer, so he also opposes it. She ponders, just as she expected. Both of them opposed it. She tells them that she already warned them. Elena tells her they have not even finished talking and questions where she is going. She knows that she's supposed to die, but before that happens, she plans on saving Tai Tai and changing the plot. Since she's inside the dawn of repentance, she has to earn points by changing the plot. If she earned points just by changing the plot, then this will give her an opportunity to acquire higher level skills and earn money just by changing the plot she knows. And with that money, she can enroll in the academy and get rid of this time-limiting condition. She's aware if she looks around carefully she will find Tai somewhere, but she realizes she still does not see him anywhere. She knows that she cannot find him just in one day, and thinks that she should take up the magic stones and earn money then. She begins to work at and that night and the next day, and the day after that she continues to work. She notices a person in this educated place and wonders if that is Tai. She wonders if he has white hair. Before she realizes that is not him, she wonders who it is. As she thinks about the shape of his pupils, and he even has skills on his skin, so she realizes he definitely is not a human, so he does not care about her at all. She continues to stare at him as she wonders what he is doing. Right then she notices some bees as she thinks he's feeding the wandering beasts and wonders if he's like a cat daddy. She also thinks what is he doing staring in the blank space this time. It's been a week now as she wonders what is going on as he steps towards her, causing her to wonder if he's really coming towards her. He asks her if she's a minor. She ponders that she heard his voice for the first time. She tells him no, she is not, before he responds, "All right." She cannot believe that he just came here to ask her that, and she was wondering what happened because he approached her so suddenly. She decides to continue digging the magical stones today as well. Mining skill level 1 has been created as she thinks she's not even a miner. So why is there such a kind of skill? She thinks she should correct it by saying that she's a miner. She can do everything to make a living. Acquiring such skills is comparatively easy. She wonders if this is Evan's extra skill effect. Acquiring such skills is comparatively easy. She wonders, isn't this too easy? She thinks that she should test how well this skill works. The beast that was discovered while mining for stones, she said she was about to go to the King of Beasts' territory, and now she knows he's threatening to kill her, as he has challenged her to a match. But this meaningless twaddling seems pretty familiar. She wonders, where have she heard this before? She suddenly remembers as this is how the King of Beasts talk. In the original novel, the King of Beasts was a white folks that seemed more like a supporting character. But he was fundamentally a gentle and generous person. His interactions with humans were clumsy, and he was known for his uniquely awkward way of speaking. Despite his short appearance, he was a popular character. It was to the point that there was an event in the fan cafe where people would imitate the way that he spoke. The first person who got first place during this event presented a congratulatory speech and wrote an analytical essay on the tone of the King of Beasts. He tells her he should kill her as she thinks she never knew that analytical essay would come to use for her. She questions by chance did he mean that since the King of Beasts ruthlessly kills anyone who enters his territory, so he would kill her instead so that at least her corpse can be collected. She asks if that is what he means. He flinches and questions. How does she know that? She wonders if it is a trend for the beasts to talk like their king. She thinks it seems he's not the King of Beasts anyway, and he's only following his way of speaking, so he should quit it with the jokes now. She tells him anyway, since he understands he should not worry as she was joking about entering the king's territory. He asks her if that is the case. She mentions that she will share her food with him as an apology. As he eats it, she then questions how is it. He mentions that he guesses today's meal was a success before he makes any correction, stating that it tasted like garbage before he swallowed it. She apologizes to him as she tells him she has never cooked before. He tells her it is understandable if she does not have experience. She thinks that he can unexpectedly talk nicely. She stares at him for a while, thinking that the beasts are actually quite nice as they provide food for the animals in the wild, and they are a lot better than people who act like they know it all after running into them a couple times. She introduces herself as Evan Leaf. She asks him what his name is. As he responds, he is Garrett. He asks her if she will come tomorrow as well. She tells him yes she will as he tells her he will return the favor tomorrow. The next day she questions what is all this, as there's a lot of delicious food placed. She is aware this is absolutely legit Korean ritual table. He mentions it is the repayment for yesterday. She questions if he made all these. He tells her that is right and asks her to try it. She mentions perhaps it only looks good on the outside as she takes a bite before she realizes it is really delicious. She tells him with this he could get married right away. As he tells her since he has a child, nobody wants to marry him. She questions. Then it means he must be older than he looks. He states that he gave up counting past 500 years. She mentions that he is way older than she thought. She knows the original novel did say that beasts are a long-living species, but she did not know it was up to this extent, as the elder of the beast species was 300-year-old, and he looked like a wrinkly old man. She wonders what kind of animal beast must he be to look this young. She asks him what kind of beast he is, seeing as he does not age. She questions if it is like a snake or something. He does so. She's tried as he is a snake beast. He also speculated that is why he does not age. His skin automatically sheds even if he develops wrinkles. She tells him a snake beast is super honey-like as she is surprised. He questions, what kind of word is that? He tells her, super nice and comfortable and sweet like honey, something like that. Afterwards, he tells her the lunch tastes like super honey. Even while doing other work, he states this seems like super honey, and he hopes she returns to a super honey home as he tells her goodbye. She thinks it seems as if she taught him something wrong. She phoned us. It looks like he has taken a liking to that word. It is not really supposed to be used like that, though she understands him, so it does not matter. She just wishes he does not say it in front of others. Because there is no more, she asks if that is all the stones in this area. She knows it has already been a month since she escaped. Here and there are 126 days until the break of her dawn. She ponders about how due to her tuition fee, her mother or she are taking up all sorts of jobs, but it is so hard saving money. At this rate, she thinks it is unrealistic to gather 100 million crowns, and her back is healing, so she should slowly go hide in Sir Thomas' ship to catch some fish. She knows she should go and find a harpoon that fits her hand. As she's looking in the market, she notices the moment talking, causing her to wonder, what are they talking about over there? Right then Elena calls out to her stating she does not expect much. Mitchell should at least just say hellos and goodbyes. Mitchell questions if she's threatening her with a knife. She thinks that her nanny did tell her to remember her greetings, as it is a rule that she must follow her words. She asks the woman over there what is going on. As they respond, it is Elena's daughter who has a bad mouth. They look at her and mention, look at that mark on the newlywed wife's face. This states that the man of that house is usually normal, but once he drinks alcohol he starts. They know that she is so deadly pitiful, and they asked her to report him, but she just would not listen. Mitchell Sereny decides to go somewhere as the woman asks where she is going. They know that she is meddling in their business. Rachel deep down calls those ladies idiots to see this as mere meddling. She knows this is the golden opportunity to strike business. She runs towards her as she mentions she heard the rumor, and she will fix her husband's bad habit. The girl becomes terrified and questions who is she. Mitchell tells her of course it is not for free. The girl asks her what is she saying, states that she should not uselessly interfere and leaves. Mitchell mentioned she's a one who recently moved nearby Captain Thomas' place, and if she's interested she can come by there. She knows since she has introduced herself, she has done preparing for this, and then she thinks she should go and finally buy her harpoons now. She tells the man that if there are no harpoons that fit her hands, she will order a custom and ask the man to state his price. He calls out to her and tells her that she has no manners, and he feels offended. He states that he will take 2 times the price of those on display. She tells him once the harpoon is finished, he will be the first one to be skewered. He states now he will take 4 times the price as she asks him to calm down, mentioning it was a joke, and asks him to give her a discount. That is how she wasted half of her money. She saved up selling the stones. That night, someone knocked on the door as she questioned, "Who is it?" It is the girl from earlier, as she mentions they met in the afternoon in the city. She asks him to come as she thinks that she did not expect her to come so soon. She notices the girl came back with more marks than last time. The girl trembles in fear and asks her if she can really solve this for her. Mitchell's responds of course she will accept payment greater than 1,000,000 crowns. It makes her angry looking at her marks. The girl states that she does not have that much money. She tells her that she can then pay in monthly installments. 100,000 crown amount for 10 months. She mentions she does not do this for everyone, but she made an exception for her. The girl recalls anxious and asks for her assistance. They decides to go now as the girl takes her to the place and questions if she can really fix his habit, with child response of course, as she will monitor him until he fixes it completely. She opens the door as she founders said when she used to work at the errand center, she saw these drunk men all the time. She knows that isn't. She is someone who has a lot of useful skills right now. He suddenly stands up and asks her who she is to barge into someone else's home. He calls out to her and asks her where does she live before she continues to ignore him and thinks and someone who resorts to violence this easily. She throws the chair at him and ponders it yields even harder when counted the same way. She knows she should just teach him a lesson as the wife is totally shocked. 6. Our female lead recollects about how she had received a request to help change the behavior of this husband. To do this, she decides to keep him in the sauna. After pulling him to the spot, she holds her hands up as ice starts to form. She thinks about how she must check the efficiency of the skill to be used in this request. She decides to test the limit of her skills by tormenting this dude with her freezing abilities. It is mentioned that when it comes to testing, using the skill consecutively can lead to bleeding. It is a threefold technique. While activating a skill, the first energy that gets consumed is the mental one. Once mental capacity has been used up, the body will send a warning by bleeding. If one decides to ignore that, then the next energy that gets drawn upon is stamina. If that gets used up, one will start coughing up blood. The last and final source of energy is the vital force. Even if one uses up all the life force, death will only occur after the final hemoptysis. Our female lead notes how she is using this theory and recalls how she has continuously used the freeze skill yet has not coughed once. This would mean her energy efficiency is not half bad. The wife watches as our female lead uses her Elsa abilities on the husband. The man holds up his hand as he starts to yell. He wonders what in the world this person is doing. Mitchell mentions how he seems unsober still and that they should get started for real now. The man questions what all that nonsense was earlier then, to which Mitchell smiles and tells him that he should have treated his wife well. He asks what he did wrong before then yelling out that he did nothing wrong at all and calls Mitchell an idiot. Mitchell then tells him he really hasn't sobered up yet before proceeding to go sicko mode on him. Within 10 minutes we see the dude in tears as he mentions how he won't ever do it again and pleads to be spared. To this Mitchell places a thumbs up and says everything is resolved now. She then calls for the wife and tells her that they should wrap things up here and that the payment due is 100,000 crowns. The wife in fear says that she will get that right away. Mitchell then continues to tell that man that he should know she will be around in this neighborhood. She mentions how if she hears he's being negligent again, then she will come back again. She mentions how if he messes around, she'll delete him. Our female lead is then paid by the wife, and Mitchell tells her to pay the rest when she can. Mitchell also says to feel free to come see her again if anything else is ever needed. To this the wife smiles before thanking Mitchell and telling her to take care. A week would then pass. Rumors moved along rapidly and many requests were sent to the errand center. Our main character was able to solve many problems and earn up to 5 million. Her level also rose rapidly from using the early key and throw skills to help solve incidents. Her throw and freeze are both at level 6 now. As she then starts to stretch, she mentions how quite a bit of money has been earned and that she needs to start focusing on finding Tai. Due to this, she has decided to invest in a health skill which may look like it means nothing. As she runs, it is revealed that this skill is at level 7. While rapidly sprinting, she mentions how her speed is not half bad and that the health skill is even better than she thought. She smiles, thinking she'll find him in no time if things carry on like this. She then turns her head to find a report saying her detection skill has been started. She comes to a complete halt. She stands silently for a moment thinking about this skill before then wondering why it suddenly appeared. She wonders if it's because of Evan's extra skill, and that just by trying it was already there. She moves her glasses up with a smile as she mentions how unbelievable this is. She raises her hand and yells detection as the skill activates. She mentions being able to see the topography and hearing even the slightest sounds. She even hears some birds chirping. Her eyes then turn as she wonders if it is over there. She mentions how she never thought she'd find Tai this fast, but she is very lucky. She notes how this is all for experience, but that she is curious to see a beastman other than Gert. She mentions how Tai is also an important character in the novel and really wants to see what he looks like. The bird continues to chirp. She stares blankly as she wonders if this is it. A bird stares back at her as she wonders if this is really him. The bird is actually stuck in a net as Mitchell wonders how it could be so stupid. She recalled how he got trapped in the novel and taken away. She recalls her thinking it was a very serious matter. She wonders if it was really due to incidents like this that he got caught. The idea is to set up a spot where the birds can pass through and perch. The rope has flimsy tension which keeps the birds from taking off properly. She thinks about how simplistic this is. The way out really is to just let go of the net and fall down. Our female lead then wonders if bird persons started out as bird brains. She notes how the bird is holding onto that net for dear life right now. She does decide that this is very convenient and easy for her. She can gain experience like this by changing the plot. She holds the bird as she tells it to stay still as she sets free. She mentions how if she does this, then it will be done. As she looks up, she mentions how the experience came through right away. She then says we're pretty much done here as she yeets the bird. She says goodbye and mentions to not get caught in the future. She mentions how the important part now starts, and it's something she has been thinking since the 2 status windows started coming up. She then places her head to the side of her head and snaps. She wonders where the plot change XP would get placed. She first checks with Evan, and then with Michelle. She then yells in excitement as she notes how it came to both. She mentions how sweet this is as she decides to work on Michelle's freezing first. She continues to smile, mentioning how mining and detecting are both necessary. She then places her hands both up as she mentions how her status window now appears like this. She recalls how she's getting closer to the freeze spell, and that the plot needs to be changed a couple more times. The bird has walked right back up to her. She calls it weird as she asks why it's been on the ground since. She then realizes that the bird seems to have hurt its wing. She mentions how she's already spared its life, and now does she really have to treat it too? She mentions how ungrateful it is as it chirps. She then says that is enough and to stop following her. She is certain that it should understand this. She mentions how if it's not just a bird, but also humanistic as well, then it should understand this and not be stupid by following her. Our female lead arrives back and greets Mom. Our female lead is then asked what that bird behind her is. All she can think about is what a bird brain it is. She yells, mentioning how she told it not to follow, but it only chirps in response.
From Evan's perspective, she introduces her name as Mitchell before correcting it to Evan Wraith. She happens to be a teenager who ran away from home, although she has planned that she will return home once the sun goes down. But she is still running away from home anyways, though the reason was certainly absurd. Yesterday Titi, the bird she saved from the trap, was not grateful enough and followed after her. Her mother used the medicine on the bird that was hers, which made her more frustrated, thinking that the bird took over her house and even used the injury as an excuse to monopolize her mother's attention. Her mother liked the bird very much, which irritated her. She turned around and told her mother that she didn't want to know anything and they both can just live happily like that as she decided to leave. Her mother reminded her that she has just come back, so where was she off to all of a sudden? She responded that she was heading to the south. Her mother asked her how can they go to the south. to which she questioned if they share the same blood. Leaving her mother confused, she asked her what did she mean to say by that. Her mother soon bursted out with anger and yelled at her daughter by her full name, questioning if she won't stop right there. She was aware that after getting called by her full name, if she happened to be caught she would surely die, so she decided to save herself and continue to run. That's how she ran away from home. She is aware that this is the second time, but it was not voluntarily. She believes it's not running away as she was planning to go out anyway. A woman notices her and greets her, thanking her for helping her last time. She deep down wonders who is it? Not remembering helping someone, but then is also aware of the fact that she has done so many things so she can barely remember. The woman reminds her that last time after she found her child who ran away from home, her child's habits have completely changed. By this she remembers that this is the person who asked her to find the youngster that ran away from home. She realizes that for the sake of the chore center's reputation, it's better that she does not mention that she has run away from home too. The woman states that it seems like the javelin she ordered at the blacksmith shop last time is finally finished, asking if they shall go and take a look. However, Mitchell thanks the woman for noticing her and waves her goodbye. She ponders that getting to know people in the village like this also has many good points, and wonders if she shall head there and get the javelin that she had ordered. She reaches the place and takes a good look at the javelin. She tells the shop owner that his personality is completely nonsense, but his things sure are good. He responds that her personality is evil, but she does know how to check things properly. She thinks it's not bad, but if she can get a little discount, then it'll be perfect. Thinking that it seems he also liked her compliment, she tells him that she would like a little discount, questioning if that's possible. He smiles, to which she ponders if things keep going like this, then negotiating will be easy. However, he kicks her out of the store, yelling at her to never step foot here again. She is aware that she could not do it, wondering why is the shop owner so hot-tempered. As she walks, she thinks that she cannot go home like this as she has just received the javelin, so she has to go find a boat. She then realizes she has other work to do as well, thinking how busy she is. She is issuing a skill assessment certificate to prove that she is someone who will be beneficial to the ship, more like proving her skills. A man begs her to join their guild as an adventurer, as there will be no waste of her skills and talent. However, she tells him that she cannot be an adventurer. He questions her why is that the case. She responds it's because she will be a fisherman, causing her to be totally taken aback. She is aware that after all, if one wants adventures and has a strong desire, then there is nothing as tempted as the sea. She notices a boat and thinks of it as the most modern one. Thomas' perspective. He introduces himself as Thomas Elam, the fisherman. He mentions that today he is going to die by Eleanor's hands, as Evan came saying to him that she is Eleanor's daughter, and secretly climbed onto his boat. He knows her mother warned him that if her daughter gets sunburned on the boat, he'll die. He curses at Mitchell and questions why is she on the boat, stating that if her mother knows this, he will be the one getting killed. She seems pretty invested as she has her eyes stuck on a place, mentioning that 15 degrees to the left, about 500 meters, there's a school of fish, and judging by its size, it's a mackerel. He questions what is that nonsense. Before she shows him the certificate, she questions how does she know it? Before answering to her own question that she has the detection skill. It's the skill certificate that belongs to her. He asks her if this is a skill that has been certified by the Adventures Association. He is totally shocked as he mentions if her detection skill is level 4. It is definitely top-notch grade A. Questioning what has she been doing, to which she says she is just a laborer, he commands to quickly turn the boat to the direction she said. It turns out that there is really a pool of fish ahead. Thomas responds. Of course, that is to be expected with a detection skill of level 4. He then asks her where should they go next. She ponders that this sundear old man is also an inevitable slave of capitalism. She suddenly flinches and runs ahead, to which Thomas asks her what is she doing. She looks at the sea and asks him how much is the bluefish around here. He asks her why. Before stating it's 10 crowns per kilogram, without thinking twice she tells him she will go catch a bluefish and bring it back, so he should please wait for her. He is totally taken aback and calls her crazy as she jumps down. After a while, she is back on the boat totally exhausted, as she thinks she drank too much seawater. Thomas yells at her, questioning what has gotten into her. Why did she suddenly jump into the sea? She tells him that there was no other choice, to which he asks her what does she mean. She tells him that there was a bluefish, knowing she cannot just pass on these 20,000 crowns. She knows it might have been more expensive if it were Dorado, but today she will just have to be satisfied with this. Moreover, she knows she jumped into a cold sea and almost froze to death, as her cold resistance level 1 skill has been achieved, Since she also acquired the cold resistance skill, she'd say she did pretty well for her first day's catch. Thomas is done with her as he tells her that he thinks he will surely die because of her. She smiles and tells him it's okay as people do not die that easily. He is really anxious, though she asks him that next time they should go even further as she will definitely catch a Doradum next time. He yells at her, questioning if she just said next time, asking if she wishes to never see him ride on a boat again. After a while, they are in the market to sell the blue fish. It happens that today's fish harvest is worth a total large amount of crowns. After hearing that, Thomas tells Mitchell that they shall be together forever, but then thinks it was too much money for that. That afternoon at Evan's house, Thomas asked her mother that isn't it better that he take care of her rather than her working in an unknown place. He tells her mother that he will take good care of her, so next time, before he pauses, as the expression on Eleanor's face is very frightening, Eleanor kicks both of them out of the house. That is how Mitchell became a regular crew member on Thomas's boat. She thinks that tomorrow she will definitely catch some mackerel. Eleanor's perspective. Her name is Eleanor Leif. She is the former nanny of the Duke of Nephthys. She is on my way back after giving the young lady a good smack on the back. She knows that fishing is ultimately just a means to get money for tuition fees, but Mitchell ran away from home, stating that today she must catch mackerel for sure. Eleanor thought, can't she do it a little moderately? Thinking, what on earth does she do to earn so much money, although she earns an enormous amount? Because of the constant visits from the townsfolk looking for Mitchell, her worries are not easy to contain. One day, even the branch manager of the Adventurers Guild came and begged, asking to please let her register as an adventure. The Youth Association, the Elderly Association, and even the Women's Association, people of all ages and genders, have been searching for Mitchell, leaving them with no quiet days lately, and on top of that, even kids have been offering money to her. She cannot believe Mitchell would resort to taking advantage of kids for money. It turns out that among the parents in the directory there, Mitchell seems to be known as a babysitter. Surprisingly, all of this happened within just 1 month of living in the directory. Eleanor thinks that she does not know. Compared to when they first met at the Duke's estate, she seems to have grown up decently. She still cannot figure out what is going on in Mitchell's mind. She asks Titi, the bird, if it's weird that she's worried, because she thinks that Mitchell is very nice, to which the bird chirps shockingly. Eleanor thinks that the thing is, it's like Mitchell has become a different person. She used to only see people as things, not as individuals, not even caring about how many people in the family someone might have, and thinks that was not she just a crazy person. The only humans she considered equals were her own parents, the Duke and the Duchess, and she even thought of the royal family as being beneath her. But still, even if it's just out of obligation, would not it be nice to show some respect for someone who raised her for a lifetime? She knows that she used to be like that for sure, but now her personality has brightened up. She cannot believe that she gets so along with the people in their neighborhood. It really feels like they are going to live a long time. Thinking, was being in prison a turning point in her life? She never thought the day would come when Mitchell would become a decent person. Anyway, she is aware that now she has decided to live her own life, so she will not cause any more trouble, right? At the same time, the distant sea. Mitchell throws something in the sea. Thomas asks her, what did she just throw? She smiles and tells him it's nothing. He seems taken aback as he questions if that is the case. He wonders, what is this? An unmistakable feeling of unease. It is really nothing special. Back then, when her mother told her to hurry up, she found something. She found a key and they could open the gate. Her mother had told her that if she has found it, she should come on out quickly. The last thing she brought when she left the house, it was the heirloom of Duke Nephthys' family. Magic Nephthys, a long time ago, when water was precious, the Nephthys family would create water. They were able to accumulate wealth by selling water in large quantities to the villages that were suffering from drought. This news even reached the ears of Emperor Cromwell. The Nephthys family was appointed as the source of water for the empire and played a crucial role in supplying water to the capital. So far, this is the story known to the public, but the reality is this. In fact, while digging a well, the Nephthys' ancestor discovered a pair of ancient rings. One had the power to absorb anything. The other had the power to expel what was absorbed. The Nephthys family actively utilized these artifacts. Opened the gate by throwing a device that absorbed anything into areas with abundant fresh water. And they would sell the water that the device expelled, amassing great wealth. In other words, the magic Nephthys actually means they achieved everything not with magic skill, but with the water of their artifacts. Furthermore, water pipes were laid throughout the empire 30 years ago, making it impossible to trade water. To continue the legacy of magic Nephthys, they incorporated many wizards into the family. finally giving birth to Mitchell, who possessed magic skills. Anyway, currently that relic is being cherished as the Nephthys family's treasure. But she left the house. She snatched it sneakily, the ring that absorbs anything. She threw it deep into the sea using a tool. Now if she wears the ring that expels and opens the gate with her freezing skill, seawater will come out as ice cubes. And if she aims well and throws with her throwing skill, a perfect natural harpoon without spending a penny. She seems very excited as she mentions that today they are really going to catch some swordfish. Thomas asks her why is she so excited about catching a swordfish. She responds that they are expensive, and she's going to the academy, but she does not have the money for the tuition fee. Thomas begins to cry as she asks him why is he suddenly crying. He tells her that he did not know she had such circumstances. She tells him that she is a very amazing person. He decides that he will then sail the boat for her every day. With a determined expression, he tells her to come out tomorrow as well. Next day, they are told that typhoon forecast today, so he cannot raise the sail. Both of them are quiet, as they know boat ride everyday disappointment in just one day. She is aware that the application period for the academy is approaching, so she needs to quickly gather money. So today, instead of fishing, she will go mine for mana stones. As she is walking towards the place, she notices that it seems like most of the mana stones have already been mined in the safe zone. She wonders if she should go a bit deeper before she notices a man. She calls out to him and tells him it's been a long time. She calls him Gertrude. He stares at her, to which she questions why is he staring at her like that. He states that humans really grow up fast. She responds that she isn't exceptional. He tells her that she is a fast-growing girl, mentioning that she has become much stronger compared to before and asks her if it is all right. Can he touch her? She notices the animal behind him, wondering where is that animal sound coming from. He tells it that it is okay. She realizes it is a white fox. The fox is growing as Gertrude tells the fox that Mitchell does not misunderstand such things. The fox seems angry towards Gertrude as she wonders if the fox is apologizing as Gertrude asked to touch her body or something. She understands because of his taming skill, and it seems like Gertrude is having a conversation with the fox. She tells the fox that it is okay. She mentions that the growth rate is impressive and asks Gertrude if he wants to explore muscles. He tells her yes. It mentions that she certainly understands. She questions if he is curious about whether the reason she became stronger is physical training or related skills. He responds yes, that is right. She gives him the permission to touch her. He grabs her arm and takes a good look. He notices that seeing that the muscles are not sticking, it seems to be the effect off, before he pauses and questions why did she come today. He's aware that she's truly born to be a miner. She came to mine for gems. He tells her that there are only a few mana stones left ahead. Going further in, she won't be able to handle it. She tells him that it is okay. She will only mine for today and won't come again. He questions what as he is taken aback before he tells her he understands. She knows it is a bit hard to understand this time as the fox is noisy. Gertrude tells Fox there is a way. She wonders in the middle of this he understood. Seems like a cat whisper. He then looks at her and asks her where should he go to meet her. She asks he means that he wants to come to visit her. He responds yes. She shows him the location of her house. The fox ponders that he got it, and that it is a success. The fox's name is Hubert. He is the white fox's envoy, and the son of the regent and the representative of the 120th generation king. There is a long story behind why he as the regent's representative is here today with his father. A few days ago at the Beast King's tower, his father mentioned that he is going to meet Mitchell again today. His father has been meeting a woman for several days. He has never seen such a thing in his 120 years of life, perhaps for the first time in 500 years of his father's life. He thought that this is intriguing. He asked his father what kind of woman is her. His father responded that he met her when he went to feed the demon beasts. The human named Evan Rafe, that father mentioned, was an equally strange woman. She not only mined mana stones around the mine where demons crawled, but she also did not shrink back even in the presence of the dignified Beast King. They even shared lunch, and she immediately understood father's words. He thought that this is just unbelievable as father lacks eloquence, so mimicking his speech is difficult. Father complained about the trembling behavior of village maiden, so if this woman values her life, she will avoid father from now on. Or so he thought, but last night he called out to his father. As his father said, it has been days since Evan came to mine for mana stones. To which he wondered if that was the reason that he skipped his meal because of that woman. Now that it has come to this, no matter how pitiful the woman is, there is nothing that he can do. He decided that he will do whatever it takes to bring that woman and father together. He was just about to set out to catch Evan with father. But to his perspective, Mitchell seems pretty scary. He looks at her as she wonders what is with this pressure, and he cannot believe that this is a 17-year-old human woman. He knows that she is lying, as even a top-notch warrior would not exude such a sinister aura. At this point, it is mana stones that she is mining, not demon heads. It is a relief that she is not here for anything more. He guesses she has about 3 ultra-rare skills, plus there's a faint magical aura she emits. If she is like this at 17, how much stronger will she get as he grows? He knew, as expected, his father's eyes are accurate. This woman named Evan is the perfect companion for him. She is qualified to be the mother of 1,000,000 demon beasts. She tells Gertrude that is her home. The fox thinks to be able to recognize a potential mother at a glance. Father is truly a person to be respected. The humiliation and disgrace he has received for not having a mother is now over. He decides that he will support his father with all his power. Mitchell looks at the fox, wondering why is he giggling like that. She tells Gertrude that, by the way, he's not using the term honey anymore. He responds that he scolded his son for not feeling any physical pain. She pondered that he was like that at home too. That evening at Beast King's Tower, Hubert tells his father that here is his outfit. He asks his father to wear this when visiting Mitchell's house. His father mentions that as a ceremonial robe. Hubert states that he should at least try to look young and pretty. Hubert knows that Mitchell looked shabby but had an incredibly beautiful face. No matter how one looks at it, his father doesn't age according to human standards. But at this rate, it's impossible for her to be a stepmother, let alone a lover. Hubert tells his father to make sure he brings a gift. It should be something expensive. Gertrude questions why go to such lengths. Hubert asks his father if he has forgotten. He states that her mother is at that house, and in the human world such manners are important. His father then wonders if that is what is called manners. He has no information at all, wondering what should he prepare. But if she has a similar personality to Mitchell, Gertrude decides that he will bring something expensive. Hubert tells him that he will prepare something expensive. He knows that surely there cannot be another human like that in the world. Next day at Mitchell's house, her mother notices the weather. She tells Mitchell that it's a storm on the day of her appointment. It'll be difficult for her friend to come in such a weather. Mitchell responds no, he will come. She is aware that although it has only been 2 months since they have met, Gertrude does not seem to look like he is going to cancel the appointment. It's particularly because she had expectations for this first appointment with her first friend. She realizes that her friend has came. Mitchell asks him to step in as her mother thinks that she surely has gotten weird friends. Gertrude does not seem in a good mood as her mother asks him what's going on. Is he okay? Mitchell notices his clothes. Her mother asks her to get him inside. Mitchell tells him that he is dressed so fancy. Her mother knows that is not the issue here. Gertrude states that his son insisted that he wear this. Her mother says that there's the same type of nobles over there too. Eleanor questions how can a young nobleman like him already have a son. Mitchell tells her mother that Gertrude is a beast folk. Her mother realizes and says of course he is her friend so he cannot be ordinary. He ponders that there is strangely insulting feeling about that. Eleanor invites him in. Mitchell looks at his clothes and wonders how come he is not soaked at all in this weather, wondering if it's related to his skills. After some time, Gertrude gives them the gift, mentioning that this is something his son told him to take as a gift. It's a fabric of strong defensive material. Eleanor mentions that he has bought so much. Mitchell sees that her mother seems very eager to receive this, isn't she? Gertrude hopes that she likes it. Eleanor mentions that the fabric is really pretty, it would be perfect for a school uniform. Mitchell mentions that she only wear clothes made in Lionel's workshop, Empire's top-class workshop. Eleanor then asks her what about the clothes that she is wearing right now. She responds that honestly she thinks it's more like rags than clothes. Her mother gets angry at her, telling her that someone sewed it. Gertrude ponders that her mother seems to have a similar personality to Mitchell. Eleanor tells him that it seems like he can sleep here since it's storming outside. He responds that he has to go back home since his son is waiting at home for him. Eleanor asks him if his son is still very young. He responds no, he just became an adult. Eleanor wonders, a literal adult. Eleanor mentions that the beast nobleman looks really young. Mitchell looks at the bird and questions why did it come out again. Eleanor becomes excited, mentioning that Titi is here too. Gertrude questions Titi. Eleanor mentions that this is the name of the sparrow and realizes that she forgot to introduce herself. She understands that she forgot to greet him properly and tells him that her name is Eleanor Laith. He tells her that he was late with the greetings too. He decides to introduce himself properly. He mentions that he is the Beast King Gertrude. Her mother is totally taken aback before she yells, What does he mean? Her mother takes the bird away as Mitchell asks him if he is saying that he is one of the 4 demon kings, the Beast King. He responds that is right. She points at him, questioning if he means that he is the Mechanical King, the Luminous King, the Dragon King, and the Beast King. He responds that she is knowledgeable among the 4 demon kings. He is the Beast King. She ponders that she realizes that he is the Beast King, and with a similar way of speaking, she thought it was a trend in the Beast Man world or something. But what if Gertrude is the best king? Then she wonders what happened to the original Beast King from the original story. She asks him, is not the Beast King supposed to be a fox? Suddenly, she's using a formal language. He tells her that is because his son is playing the role of the Beast King in public. She questions why would he do such a thing, mimicking even the way of speaking. That there is a reason for it, and he will not say it unless she changes that turtle-like tone of hers. She changes it and asks him to tell her. He states that it happened about 200 years ago. He asks her if she is aware about what kind of creature the Dragon King is like. She responds like a dragon giant reptile. He tells her exactly. She wonders what does he mean by exactly? She questions what does he mean before she thinks about it. She questions if he's complaining because he's a reptilian beast folk and he's similar to the Dragon King. He tells her that when someone came to the Beast King's tower and caused trouble because of the overlap, he got annoyed and just created Hubert as a substitute. She wonders if there is such a guy. He asked to change the Beast King just for such a reason. Gertrude mentions that he said he wants the new Beast King to use the same unique tone as his. She questions, is that guy crazy? She feels like her head hurts, wondering why is not there a normal person here. Eleanor tells her it is not something she should be saying. Mitchell thinks that she should just forget it and let's just forget everything. Like if the characters overlap between the Dragon King and the Beast King. If the newly adult 100 fox imitated his father's tone and spoiled the concept, she did not hear anything. She knows that Gertrude is the beast man she met when she went to the quarry for the first time. He is her first friend she may hear, and that is all that matters. She knows her friend speaks in a strange tone and is actually old. But he's handsome. She tells Gertrude that they should have their meal now. Eleanor asks him if beast folk gentlemen handle spicy food well, as Mitchell prefers spicy, sour, and salty food. Go ahead and enjoy it, and if it's not enough, he should just say so. Michael seems hungry as she says she'll eat well. Gertrude mentions this is more like poison than food. Eleanor becomes angry thinking of hitting him before Mitchell tells her that she should hold on as he is the Beast King and she should remember that. She knows before Mom gets more upset she should just send him back quickly as they might end up causing a big accident if this continues. Mitchell asks Gertrude if he could leave now and meet again next time. He tells her that now that he thinks about it, his son asked him to come and tell her something. She questions. What did he say? Eleanor mentions they shall hear what kind of nonsense his son said. Gertrude mentions that he wants to formally propose a relationship with Evan Reef. Talk for a while before she decides that she should just take calm. Wondering if this is a proposal just for friendship or is it a setup for a lover. Eleanor is ready to beat him up before Mitchell asks her to hold on a moment. Mitchell tells him if that relationship means just being friends, she already considers him as her friend, and it is an unnecessary proposal. He responds if that is the case, then that is a relief. He then says that he would like to make a proposal again. He states that ultimately he wishes to mate with her. The plot has changed slightly, and she is awarded 10,000 experience point. The king proposed mating, but the plot has changed slightly. The verdict is a bit salty, but who cares? Free is free. Mitchell tells her mom to just wait a moment as her mom is full of anger, wanting to beat him. Michelle glares at him, knowing that they should talk about this later and he should just leave quietly now, thinking that he should at least have this much sense. He gets a connection error and tells her he will come back to play again later, to which Eleanor becomes really angry, questioning. Did he just say that he will come back again, asking him to get out of here right now? And so her mom repelled the king with a broom. She guessed that she should not tease mom anymore. It's the night time. Mitchell is thinking of changing the plot of the book in order to earn experience, but suddenly she is getting 10,000 experience points at once. Eleanor yells at him. What does he mean? He wants to be with Mitchell. She beats him as he tells her that he is not a jerk, but he is King Gertrude. Mitchell knows that mom freaked out. Anyone would be upset if their beloved daughter-in-law was targeted by a pedophile. Mitchell thinks that I didn't think Gertrude's offer was bad. She didn't mean to say that she wanted to have sex with Gertrude. It's just that she gained experience from that bombshell announcement, since both status windows only have normal skills. It's a lot, but let's use it all up before it turns to crap. Early kick level 10. detection level 10, taming level 10, rise and fall level 10, throw level 10, health level 10. She is aware that she has used up all her experience points. She knows that she leveled up more skills than she thought. She notices something before she realizes that she is feeling dizzy, causing her to wonder why is it happening. She feels like ringing in her ears. She looks at the status window and wonders why is she getting so many notifications at once. She notices it is the level, and there are leveling skills options. Right then, the director of the Nephthys Direct Information Gathering Agency steps in. He mentions that they have found Lady Michael's whereabouts. His Highness asks if that is true, questioning where is his daughter Michael now. He is Duke Nephthys, filler at Nephthys. He has been given the report. It is said that she is hiding in her nanny's hometown. He questions if that means she is with Elena. They have the pictures of her. He looks at them as he questions if she is healthy, right? How can one tell that she is his daughter as he has never seen this country bumpkin before? So what is this last picture? The attendant tells him to take a closer look, as that country bumpkin is indeed her lady. He finds it ridiculous, questioning why would his elegant and beautiful daughter look like this. The attendant remains shells. Maybe she disguised herself on purpose to hide her identity. At the same time in Nephthys Duchy, his duke mentions, by the way, no matter how capable their daughter is, it would be difficult for her to raise all the tuition money herself. If they support her with too much money, it might raise suspicions, so he should find a way to support her through the Adventurers Guild. The attendant states that however it happens that she has already raised half of the tuition money. And at this rate, it seems that she will be able to raise all of the tuition money soon. This makes the Duke taken aback. He questions, is not his daughter a genius? The attendant agrees with him. He becomes really happy, saying that her daughter is a genius at transformation as well. The attendant ponders that he cannot really do anything with this foolish laughter. Mitchell is feeling dizzy. She thinks to herself that from now on, she should not raise her skills without thinking like this, because no matter how much she grows, if she dies, it will still be in vain. She sees a window notification as she wonders what it is as it came right after she came to her senses. She thinks the charisma of a noble and the charisma of a beast. Is it because of Mitchell's fusion skill that this option appears? She is aware that first of all, the charisma of a noble man can be seen in her name. It is a 100% enhanced version of nobility. Even now, the way she speaks is like this because of that skill, and if it gets any worse, her social life at the academy will be a mess. She imagines herself greeting people like, nice to meet you nobles who suck the blood of the people. She then thinks, so what is left is the charisma of the beast. She realizes it also has an ominous name. Still, she is aware no matter what it must be with the letters King or Wang attached to it. It's better than the characteristics of being treated like a superior. She decides to click on the beast's charisma. She believes that the charisma of the beast is the best. She then wonders if it is time to test this now. She thinks that she should say she is going crazy so they should be quiet, being aware that if she succeeds in this, she can lead a normal social life. She calls out to her mom as her mom questions if she needs anything. She tells her mom to stop being noisy and shut up. Both Thomas and her mom are at a loss of words. She realizes that she lost it. Her mother tells her that they were very noisy, right? So she's leaving now, and if she needs anything, she can call her. Mitchell curses the system window. She wonders why she is speaking more harshly than before. She then sees the level 1 description, which is she does not listen to those who are weaker than her. It has the effect of intimidating beasts. She questions what is added if the description comes first before the skill. She is getting a headache, but she continues to think that before that, this is also a skill. It takes mental energy to learn. She finds it so annoying as she mutters it out. Her mother listens to it. Both she and Thomas are startled. Mitchell tells herself to come back to her senses. According to her mom, the second time she blacked out, it was said that beast men, who are presumed to Gret's friends, visited. Among them, the spider beast man looked at her, stating that Hubert is going to make a fuss. She said that and left the gift. She does not know why, but the tiger beast came to her excitedly when she was sick, and said, let us wait and see, as he turned and walked away. She thinks to herself that Gert seems to have a lot of friends, perhaps because he has a good personality. He is a total extrovert. She is aware that her only friend here is Gert. She knows he said that but did not even come in person to see her. She tells herself that she needs to stop thinking about random things and go out and make money. As she decides to step out, her mother calls out to her asking where is she going when she is not feeling well. She responds she's going to catch tuna. As she is walking outside, she thinks to herself that she saved up about half of the entrance fee, but it is still far from enough. She knows that first of all today she will go to her uncle and find out the departure time. Right then she feels something as she turns around and notices a person attacking her. She dodges the attack as the person becomes frustrated, questioning how did she notice? It is the tiger beast. She seems surprised by her speed and power, wondering if this really is her body. She thinks that her reflexes are insane, wondering if that is because of the newly acquired skills. The tiger beast man tells her that indeed she is doing quite well. She then focuses on him as she looks at the pattern and tail, wondering if this is a tiger beast. She understands that it looks like he is Gert's friend who visited when she was sick. She wonders what does he know and thinks since he attacked first she will also attack. She uses the throwing ice skill. He suddenly becomes worried, trying to dodge her attack. She thinks since she used water drawn from the artifacts rather than water made from mana, wondering if it consumes less mental power. However, she is aware it is impossible to fight for a long time with a body that has not fully recovered. She decides that now she should finish this slowly and launches another attack. The tiger beast tells her to not look down on him, questioning if she thinks she can defeat him with this kind of toy. Right then she runs to him with maximum speed. She ponders right when he knows it. It's in front of him. It attacks him. He falls down on the ground. He mentions that she's a lot more than he thought. She looks down on him as she questions quite what? After a while he is laughing. He mentions that he has lost, and he has no choice but to admit it, causing her to be confused. She punches him, asking him what is he admitting to. She also tells him to explain it properly. He apologizes to her, mentioning that since Hubert was making such a fuss about Her Majesty the Queen Mother, he came to see her out of curiosity. She asks him if by Hubert he means to say Gert's son. He responds yes, that is right. He also states if she's a queen who enjoys fighting like this, he also welcomes it. She makes it clear to him, stating that she doesn't know what he is talking about, but she is not the queen. He tells her no ways there is no one like their queen, Her Majesty the Queen. She again repeats that she is not the queen. He then gives her something mentioning this as a small but welcome gift, and says he will see her later then. He still calls her the queen. Tells him that she is not the queen, but he leaves. She looks at the gift as she seems really frustrated, questioning what on earth is that guy doing. She opens the gift and sees something like a crystal. After a while in the Adventurer Guild, the salesperson tells her it is the core of a demonic beast, and he will give her 10 million crowns for it. As she thinks he was a very generous bastard, like that with the money earned from selling the demonic beast's core even after taking one step closer to achieving the entrance fees. As usual, she worked at the errand center. One day while fishing, she even ends up fainting. However, she finally got tuna. Realizing that she made a fortune, everyone becomes really happy that she sang a tuna song and ended up catching it. Thomas congratulates her and asks her if she can go to the academy now. She thinks to herself, just how much trouble did she have to go through to catch this one fish? She knows that if she sells this now she can go to the academy. She has tears in her eyes as Thomas asks her why she is crying on this good day. She coughs up blood as Thomas is suddenly shocked. He is unable to take hold of the situation as he questions why is she vomiting blood again? She achieves the academy entrance fee in 3 months. She opens her eyes, noticing the ceiling. She ponders that the ceiling is so familiar. She remembers catching tuna on her uncle's boat. She guesses that she passed out right away because she overexerted herself. She wonders if they were the one who brought her here. She thinks to herself that the people of this village are so talkative and unnecessarily friendly. She finds it such a shame to leave. She really wants to live here with her mom forever, but the deadline for day and application submission deadline are just around the corner. Moreover, by this time, the rumor that she had a lot of money would have spread throughout the neighborhood. If this happens, her mother could be in danger too, so it would be better to pay the entrance fee quickly. She knows that she will still worry about her mom while she is away. Since she go fishing, there is no one to stay with her all the time. She then notices the bird sleeping as she wonders why is the bird sleeping. Her wings have already healed a long time ago, but it seems like she has no intention of going back. She then thinks about it, thinking that this bird is also a beast, right? She wonders why did not she think of this before. A beast man would be stronger than a middle-aged woman anyway. She knows it will be enough to protect her mom. She grabs the bird and tells it to stop crying and open her mouth. She tells the bird that she knows that the bird is aware that she knows about it being a beast man. She tells the bird that if she does not change within 5 seconds, she will kill her. She starts scolding before the bird changes her form, asking her to not do that. It is a girl as she starts crying, saying that she is sorry for staying quiet for so long. She is not wearing any clothes as she asks her to please just cover her. Mitchell notices her, thinking she looks like 10 years old. She covers her and tells her that there is nothing to be sorry about, as when she goes to the academy, she cannot come here except during vacation, so she'll have to take care of her mom in the meantime. She also tells her if she refuses, then she will break the seal of the human-friendly Beastman village, and because of that she will write a poster on the bulletin board in her hometown saying that she ran away out of fear of being punished and was caught in a trap. This scares her as she questions how did she know it. She was from a human-friendly Beastman village near Elam. Even if they are friendly to humans, in the end the Beastman was just one of the members of the demon tribe. Most humans have ostracized and discriminated against Beastmen. The Elam people make sure that the nearby beasts don't harm them. She does not really care, but perhaps it is humans who reject Beastmen who pass by, as there was a barrier set up to prevent the Beastman from attacking the village. That is how important the barrier is. She knows the brat who punched her while fooling around is none other than Titi, and who ran away from the village and was caught in a trap. The story about this warrior began known, so she remembers it vividly because it was around episode 290, right before Titi died. Mitchell tells her that she will take care of the house while she's away, and she knows what will happen if her mom gets hurt, right? Titi agrees to it, and in her mind, she seems pretty happy. She thinks that it worked, thinking she thought she would not be able to return because the village barrier was destroyed, but now that she's here, she'll have to reveal her identity to her mom and live with her forever. She runs to Eleanor and calls her mom. Eleanor becomes shocked, yelling that there is a thief. Titi seems hurt that Eleanor did not even listen to her. Mitchell states she's going to leave her while she goes to the academy. Eleanor goes to her, telling her she almost got her head smashed without even knowing that. Mitchell thinks if she was worrying about her mother for no reason. She knows that is how her mother gave birth to 2 daughters in 3 months. She goes out as she is aware today is the day that Gert invited her to the Beast King's tower as a thank you for inviting him last time. This time he said he would treat her. She thinks it was disappointing not to see her nose bleed after falling, but she knows the timing is perfect. She is aware that she should say hello and let him know that she will be leaving soon. She calls out to Gert and questions if he came to greet her. He looks at her as she questions if he got home safely last time. She questions why did he come this far to meet her. He does not know how to respond before he extends his hand. He asks her to hold his hand. She's totally taken aback before she questions what does he mean to say. Does he mean to walk hand in hand? He becomes embarrassed before he tells her he does not mean that, stating that beast men born in the Beast Men Tower can use the return skill, so she can come with him. She can get to the tower in one go. She understands it. Then she mentions if that were the case, there was no need to be embarrassed as he has touched her body before too. He says that he does not know why he did that either. She then grabs onto his hand, questioning if she can just hold it like this. He states yes, and this is her first time, so she might feel dizzy, so she should close her eyes. She then closes her eyes for a moment before she opens it. She finds herself in a different location. He tells her that this is the top floor of the Beast King's tower. She is totally shocked as she questions if this is for real. She knows it is the Beast King Tower. The Tiger Beast Man and White Fox Beast Men she saw last time are all here. She notices the top, finding it luxurious, and thinks everyone is gorgeous. Right then, she suddenly feels like it stinks as she calls out to Gert. He asks her why is she calling him as she tells him she needs to go to the bathroom. He tells her it is over there as she runs to the washroom, wondering what is that smell as her nose feels like it is rotting. She knows it seems to be the smell of rotting meat beasts and other different smells wafting from the tower. Her senses are sensitive thanks to her superhuman skills. He can hear them having a conversation as the tiger beast asks isn't she too sensitive, as questioning if it smells too much. The other one is embarrassed as stating that she said before too to remodel and then call her. Hubert always said that he smelled it. They probably do not know because they are used to it. Gert becomes really embarrassed as he wonders if it really smells to the extent of throwing up like that. He calls out to Even and tells her to get out now. Right then Hubert appears and takes her out while calling his father an idiot. He runs from the tower while apologizing to Evan, telling her he is sorry for calling her without any preparation and asking her to wait for a minute. Meanwhile, she is feeling very dizzy. In the end, she got off halfway and vomited. Hubert asks her if she's okay. She responds that she is fine. She thinks now that she has gotten off and breathed fresh air, she's feeling a little better. Hubert apologizes to her, telling her his father did not ask her to leave because he disliked her. She tells him she knows as he said he would call her back later, so he told her to go back for today. Hubert becomes startled, questioning how did she know? She tells him that is because he has no reason to be mean to her. She already knows his personality, so she will not misunderstand anything just because of the tone of his voice. She knows. When she came out, she saw that he looked shocked. She wonders if he heard anything. Hubert tells her he will invite her again once he finishes remodeling and he will get rid of the smell. She tells him all right before she wonders. Wait a minute, her back is bent over. She realizes the charisma of the beast is not activated, which means this guy is stronger than her, thinking no wonder he is the Beast King's representative. Hubert states that he is glad she did not misunderstand. She is aware she could not even bow her head to Uncle Thomas, as it was her limit. Hubert took her back near her house and then returned to the power. It was only after seeing his back that she realized it. She went to see Gert for the last time today to say goodbye. That night in her house, she pondered to herself that Gert will probably be hesitant to see her until the tower is fixed. So she guesses she can just leave a letter for him through Titi. She has also packed all her luggage that she needs to take with her to the capital. And she has already bought a horse, so she is all set. She thinks she will have to leave home tomorrow early in the morning if she wants to get to the capital, to make her school uniform and earn some money. She knows when she is in the academy, she won't be able to see her mom for a while, so she takes the pillow and runs to her mom. She decides that she is going to sleep with her mom today. She sleeps hugging her mom, as in the middle is Titi, who thinks it's her spot. Her mother wishes for her to sleep soundly. The next day, as it is time for her to embark, her mother tells her to take her words to heart. She states that she should always take care of herself, and she should eat well and take her medicine regularly since she has been fainting a lot these days. If the noble kids bother her, she should tell them that she is Nephthys' successor, and smooth things over. Mitchell tells her mom that if she does that, she'll be kicked out. Her mother states even so, it is not good for her health to hold it in, to just smooth things over, stating that she is good at it. Mitchell responds, her mom really knows her the best. Mitchell then calls out to Titi. She gives her the installment ledger, mentioning that when it is time for the clients to pay, she should collect the payments properly and also conduct a patrol to ensure the after-sales service has no problems. She asks her if she can entrust this to her. Titi wonders what kind of life has her sister led. Mitchell tells her mom that she will come during vacation. Her mother wishes her best of luck. Thomas and the villagers are standing to say her goodbye. With tears in his eyes, Thomas tells her to make sure she passes the academy and comes back. He calls her the pride of their village. The other villagers wish her to have a good trip and to please register with the Adventurers Guild when she goes to the capital, as well as asking her to come play again when she's on vacation. Mitchell seems emotional as she thinks everyone came out to see her off, thinking she guessed she has worked hard in this neighborhood. She thinks Uncle Thomas and the sailors, as well as the blacksmith and the Adventurous Guild people, and errand clients and whatnot. Everyone came to see her off after hearing that she was going to the capital. She knows she should at least give them a sincere thank you. She thanks them for coming all the way here. Thomas knows even in the end, she cannot even fix her habit of saying things. She knows she has said her goodbye and gets on the horse. She mentions that you come back during the vacation and everyone until then should stay healthy. Her mother had stirs in her eyes as she tells her to come back healthy. Mitchell thinks that she feels like she's going to cry because her mom is crying. She wonders if she should leave tomorrow and have a little conversation. But she knows that is wrong and starts riding the horse. She is aware she has not even left, so she should not have a weak heart as a few months will pass by in no time. She tells herself to not be sentimental. After setting out like that, she ran almost non-stop thanks to her riding skill. The saddle was so comfortable that she almost fell asleep while riding. As she went along, she robbed any bandits she passed by, so she was able to avoid getting bored and prevent drowsy driving. After 4 days, she notices something as she wonders, is that a town over there? She wonders if she already arrived at the capital of the Kroll Empire, Crown Police. Upon arriving in the capital, she decided to proceed with the most essential tasks first. First, she would sell the horse and pack her belongings at the inn, and then, most importantly, make her uniform with the favorite Gert gave her. She thinks it has been a while since she has done this. She says goodbye to her raggedy clothes. In Ronell's clothing store, this was a clothing store that Mitchell frequented. They mainly made clothes that were stylish, beautiful, and comfortable, so they were popular in the first place. The number of branches increased considerably as rumors spread that the successor of the Nephthys was a regular customer. She thinks if there is one problem, that is that the reservation line was long and the price has gone up since it became famous. She wonders if she should cause a scene and say that she is the successor of Nephthys like her mother said. As she steps in, a woman looks at her and calls her a peddler. telling her that she cannot come in here with those shabby clothes. She tells Michelle to get out of here right now before Mitchell throws a dagger towards her, scaring her. The woman asks her what is she doing before Mitchell states she is not a peddler but a customer. The woman states that she is going to call the guards before Mitchell tells her to call them, as the academy has extraterritorial rights, so she will not be punished for killing her. The woman then asks, so she's an academy student, but then states what can she do when she's dressing like a peddler. Mitchell punches her, asking her to call her manager. The woman leaves to call for the manager and asks her to have some tea and wait. Michelle knows she got a little angry and just threw her dagger, realizing that she has a bit of a temper. She knows that even though this place is always busy, she has to move her reservation up, but she accidentally caused a scene as soon as she came in. She thinks since she caused a scene anyway, should she try to blackmail them? She suddenly got a prison resistance scale as she thinks no way the clerk put poison in the tea she gave her. She is thankful for her as she made her make a weapon like this without even knowing. The manager appears and greets her, asking her what brought her today to their clothing store. The manager thinks that she can sense something suspicious. Mitchell tells her for now just to give her one packaging box. She's told that they are a clothing store, not a general store, asking if she came to the wrong place by mistake. Mitchell mentions that the woman behind her put poison in her tea, so she should pack it nicely in the box and take it to the guards, as she will file a complaint and have them punished. The manager asks her if that is true. As the woman says, it is not poison, it is just a little laxative in it, because she was angry. Laxatives are considered poison too. Mitchell stands up and takes the cup, mentioning if she doesn't give her the box she will just take it to the guards like this before the manager asks her to calm down, stating there is no way their employee would do that. Mitchell mentions a precious drop has been spilled before. The manager states all right, she will do anything that she wants. Mitchell realizes that she got her. She tells the manager if she says so she has no choice and asks her if she can make her a Kroll Academy uniform as quickly as possible and in the highest quality. Mitchell gives her the fabric as the manager is totally shocked, stating that this fabric is of the highest quality. She mentions it must have been tough to find and asks her how did she get it. Mitchell wonders looked at how her attitude shifts. She thinks that all craftsmen are the same. She wonders if it is such a good fabric. Mitchell tells her that she got it as a gift from a friend near the Beast King's tower. The manager tells her that she has got a good adventurer friend. It is such high-quality stuff, and she could make it into clothes without using a blade. Mitchell asks her if that is the case. She wonders if the manager means to say it is that good of a fabric. The manager tells her, however, because the fabric is strong, the needle won't go in that easily, so they have to use an artifact, and it is a bit expensive, so the price will be a bit higher. As she said, she wants to get it quickly, right? Mitchell asks her how will it cost then. The manager questions how long has she been thinking about. Mitchell tells her to not be a rip-off and tell her directly. The manager states it is going to cost 10 million crowns. Mitchell thinks to herself that 10 million crowns is practically her life savings. They even ignore the reservation turn number and make clothes, so she guesses she'll have to endure this. She responds, all right then, she's going to pay in full. The manager states their customer is so generous. She also states she will consider that the store clerk's attempted poisoning never happened. The clerk thanks her before Mitchell tells the clerk that instead she should drink it to destroy any evidence of poisoning that happened here. She has to drink all that is left in this teacup. The clerk looks at the manager, but the manager ignores her. She thinks to herself, this is the diarrhea medication. She just has to take it in one shot and is trembling as she looks at the cup. So the clerk drank the tea in one shot with diarrhea medicine in it. The clerk went straight to the bathroom. She did not see her until she left the shop. The manager said she would make the school uniform before the entrance ceremony. She told her that she had taken out 17 bandits on her way to the capital. She locked herself in the sewing room, promising to have it ready in a week. There is only a month and 1/2 until the intern ceremony. But they made it so quickly, and as expected of the manager, she never disappoints. She steps out, knowing that she's leaving the school uniform in her hands, and now next is sorting out living expenses. In the Imperial Kroll Academy, the Dean of Imperial Kroll Academy seems really frustrated. He is frustrated because of the Duke of Nephthes, questioning what on earth did he send him. In the letter it is written that it has been a while, and how has he been? It looks like they even appointed him as the dean. If we read the details he wrote in the letter, he is willing to make any amount of donation to help the academy. He is aware that there is nothing ordinary about the letters that the Duke send him. Even just looking at this one looks suspicious, Besides, he wrote that first of this year he is enrolling a peerless beauty named Evan Rafe, and if he does not cooperate, he will kill him. The dean wonders that this is the first time he has heard of that name, wondering if she is some hidden daughter. He also thinks, how can this country kid be a peerless beauty? Thinking what is wrong with the dude who is so into looks that he is practically judging someone by their looks. He is aware that the dude he knows has not spared a glance for anyone less than 10 seconds since his school days. He picked his spouse based solely on looks, regardless of her magic skills. So as the family had hoped, they got a magic-wielding child. They even had the good fortune of looking like the spitting image of their parents. Even if the child is magicless, the Duke would have loved his eldest daughter just as much as he does now. The dean wonders what has gotten into a guy like him. Has he gone crazy from the shock of losing his eldest daughter? Secondly, in the letter it is also written that if that child grows up and won't see people as people anymore, he will punish the professor for it, and he has to support him. If he does not, he will kill him. The dean wonders what kind of personality does this kid have? He knows if Duke is going this far as to say this, it means she's even worse than that. Mitchell. He was strangely quiet when his eldest daughter got sentenced to death for insulting the royals, thinking if he was just washing the hands of his ice-cold daughter. The dean is really exhausted as his head is spinning, thinking if he has a secret love child. The third thing in the letter is to make magic dormitory meals, and if he doesn't make it spicy, salty, and sour, he will kill him. The Department of Magic. It looks like the hidden child is a wizard. Moreover, if she has already entered the academy, she seems to be a higher-level wizard than Michelle. Now he understands why he gave up on his beloved eldest daughter. In the letter, the fourth thing is written that even if he tell anyone about this, he will kill him. The dean thinks he is really still the same guy. He's the same crazy guy he knows. More than that, he's worried about the future, wondering how crazy this person named Evan is. A week later, she thinks as expected. Working at the errand center is very rewarding. She does not have to worry about pocket money at the academy. She already received a school uniform from Miss Ronell. Now she has to leave for the academy. Someone calls out to her as some people are telling her she will definitely pass the academy, and thanks to her, their store sales have increased tenfold. The other one thanks her for helping her dad escape from unemployment. Mitchell thinks about it, wondering what is this déjà vu? Johnny worked here and there for a while, but everyone came to see her off. Even the horses came with them to the capital. She thinks then she guessed she should say hello and leave. She thanks them and says to them to stay healthy. However, they tell her if she does not change her speaking habits, she will be ostracized. One of them tells her that if nobles behave badly, he will take care of them, so she should just come and tell him. To receive support like this, she feels like she is traveling to the academy again, but then she thinks she should hurry before it is too late to the academy entrance examination center. Examine number 3504. It is Ivan Rafe. She steps in her uniform as she thinks it is not as big of a deal as she thought. A person stares at her. This is she's wearing the school uniform even though her admission is not decided, thinking if that Neth is herself. He tells her that to show off her skills, if she kills the demon beast in front of her to the best of her ability, she will pass the test. She responds that she does not kill animals. It is pitiful. The dean notices her as he thinks they say she is vicious, but it is a little different from what the Duke said. He knows this child has a heart that knows how to feel sorry for others. She really has a kind heart. Mitchell looks at them and mentions instead she'll kill them. The examiner. That should be enough to prove her skills. The dean finds her absolutely insane. Knowing that this girl with her Nephthys bloodline is brimming with confidence, she uses the skill throwing eyes with before they become scared, asking if she was serious. They make a barrier to stop her. They ask her to stop, otherwise they will kick her out of the exam room right away. Tells her to stop, but she does not before they say she has been passed. They tell her there's still about a month left until the entrance ceremony, so in the meantime before she turns around and runs away, stating that she has to go to the dorm and grab lunch first. The examiners are done for before they call out for the next student. The student looks around asking if there was an ice wizard among the enrolled students, questioning who is that ice wizard, and asks that they should please introduce her to that ice wizard right away. The next student asks the name of the ice wizard who just left. The dean knows the girl's lineage is renowned for producing fire wizards generation after generation. She is the daughter of Count Letham, part of the Flame Counts, and he wonders if it is true that they are scouting for a wizard with equal skill but the opposite element. The dean tells her that the personal information of academy students is secure and cannot be shared with outsiders. Like a friend with a solution for every excuse, she hurriedly asks them to pass her then. The examiners explain the procedure to pass the exams, but she cheerfully exclaims, "Magic time," and questions if she should simply blast ice wherever there is ice. The examiners scream at her to stop, calling for the dean, but the dean, visibly exhausted, remains seated, watching the chaos unfold. Meanwhile, one of the examiners, whose clothes have caught fire, pleads desperately for her life. The dean finally warns everyone to prepare themselves as things are about to get wild. At Kroll Academy's cafeteria, Mitchell savors her meal. It's been forever since she has indulged in food this delicious, and it suits her taste so perfectly that she feels joining the academy was a great decision. Full from her meal, Mitchell begins to ponder the rumor that the academy is scouting for a wizard with equal skill but the opposite element. She soon walks to room 203, which is supposed to be her home for the next 4 years. On top of that, it's a single room. Unlike other facilities, wizards generally require single rooms because the academy believes it's safer given the occasional volatile personalities of its students. However, Mitchell, with her top-notch social skills and personality, doesn't see that as a problem. Still, the idea of a single room is absolutely welcome. The room is bigger than she imagined. Upon entering further, she notices a girl resting on the bed. Mitchell questions who the girl is and what she's doing in her room. The girl introduces herself as Raina Letham, further explaining that the room is hers too. Mitchell freezes. Raina Letham, one of the main characters in the original work. A phrase always comes to mind when describing Raina in the original, a quietly burning flame. Although cynical on the outside, it perfectly reflects her inner explosive passion. Mitchell recalls a particular episode where Raina fought the Dragon King, refusing to kneel even in the face of death. It was breathtaking when Raina burned through her vitality and unleashed her magic. However, Mitchell can't reconcile that image with the grumpy girl winking at her now. Mitchell demands her to stop lying and calls her a fake Raina. She shouts for the dormitory director, claiming an impersonator has broken into her room. Raina tries to calm her down and insists she's not pretending. She pleads with Mitchell to listen, promising she'll be fascinated. Reluctantly, Mitchell encourages her to speak up. Raina explains that Mitchell is a freeze wizard and she is a fire wizard. Confused, Mitchell listens as Raina adds, "What happens when ice and fire combine?" Mitchell points out its bad compatibility, to which Raina agrees, calling it a dog treat. She elaborates, explaining that in industry terms, their elements are referred to as hate. Mitchell wonders to herself, what kind of industry is that? Raina, reaching for Mitchell's hand, suggests that they could be great haters together and proposes becoming Academy celebrities by pretending to be on bad terms. Mitchell yanks her hand away, suggesting they just have a fight instead. Raina clarifies that's not what she meant. She explains her plan to fake a rivalry, claiming other students would love the drama of their bickering. Later, if they ever have to kill or sate each other, the moment would be epic because they'd be the only ones to trust each other. Mitchell, confused, asks what they would gain by upsetting everyone. Raina simply replies it would make her feel better. To Mitchell, Raina is a crazy person and she decides it's not worth talking to her. Raina mentions that it's their first meeting, and since wizards are usually assigned single rooms, this situation is unique. She rants on, unfazed, while Mitchell decides to move to another room. Raina asks which other room Mitchell plans to move to, smugly revealing she asked her mother to close all remaining accommodations. Shocked, Mitchell demands to know if there's truly no other room available. Furious, Mitchell draws her weapon, vowing not to let this slide. She thinks that if she gets rid of Raina, she might be able to use solitary confinement as her personal space. Raina, unfazed, declares that's unacceptable. Mitchell and Raina activate their powers, ice and fire clashing violently. Mitchell's ice begins to melt, making her wonder if they're equally skilled. Resorting to physics, Mitchell draws her sword and demands Raina bring the real Raina. Raina, unable to understand, stops Mitchell's sword with her bare hand. Mitchell is shocked at Raina's strength, wondering why a wizard would possess such a superhuman body. The dormitory leader finally arrives, demanding to know what is happening. Raina declares he shouldn't intervene, claiming they're deciding who will own the room. Mitchell is baffled by Raina's sudden shift in personality. The dormitory leader places a hand on Mitchell, stating that fighting in the dormitory is prohibited and both girls will have 1 point deducted. Mitchell questions what happens when points are deducted. The leader explains that losing 5 points results in expulsion from the dormitory, and expelled students usually live in homeless villages until they graduate. Shifting tactics, Raina and Mitchell suddenly hold hands and claim they were just having a cute little squabble. They plead with the leader to reconsider the point deduction. The leader tells them he will not deduct their points. He adds that there's a store system in the dormitory warning them not to fight again and leaves. The girls stare at each other for a moment before Mitchell suddenly launches her fist at Reina. Reina deflects the attack, pointing out that Mitchell started the fight in the first place. Reina makes it clear she's not leaving the room, forcing Mitchell to accept sharing the space. Reina smugly declares that everything is settled and suggests they have a good 4 years together. Mitchell storms off, ordering Reina not to follow her. Reina, cheerful as ever, insists they're going the same way and suggests walking together. Hours later, Mitchell huffs in frustration, unable to understand what's wrong with Reina. Meanwhile, Reina happily reflects on their first night walk together, much to Mitchell's dismay. Mitchell is confused over how can a wizard like her have a superhuman body. She knows she's stuck with the wrong person. Since the day Mitchell and Reina started living in the same dorm, they have become the kind of friends who fight whenever they are bored. Just to clarify, Mitchell doesn't pick fights because she wants to, but can we blame her when Reina herself jumps in with her passionate concepts every time she sets her eyes on Mitchell? As a result, even before the entrance ceremony, everyone at the academy has started paying attention to them. Time passes, and the day of the entrance ceremony finally arrives. In the hall, Mitchell notices Reina is nowhere to be seen and wishes to spend the day peacefully. The announcer begins speaking, drawing Mitchell's attention. The ceremony is long and tedious, and Mitchell finds herself dying of boredom. Eventually, the announcer introduces the freshman representative, Atten Pollard, prompting Mitchell to look up in amusement. Atten, the original protagonist of this world, stands before the crowd. A genius who enrolled in the academic department as the top student despite his exceptional magical skills, he is destined to become the companion of the female protagonist, the third princess of the Empire. The princess herself gave him the nickname Companion Bird because of the harmony between his brown hair and green eyes. Seeing him in person, Mitchell has to admit that his coloration really does resemble that of a companion bird. It is during this very ceremony that the princess takes a liking to Atten. Sudden thought strikes Mitchell. She has been so distracted by Reina lately that she completely forgot something important. Snapping her fingers, she summons a status window. A screen appears before her, showing that the abnormal status effect has disappeared from both sides. She is furious. The system should have sent a notification about this in a timely manner instead of bombarding her with useless expiration alerts. Mitchell wonders about the ominous timing of the notification. It's only now that the expiration has been removed. Could it be, suddenly, a pop-up appears. It declares that the dawn has been changed for the top seat of the midterm exam in the first semester of the School of Magic. If the seat is missed, death will occur. Mitchell is even more infuriated. What do they mean by the top seat? It clearly refers to being the top student in the department, not an actual stone seat. Worse, it's referring to Atten Pollard, the companion bird. The system window is maddening. While previous expiration statuses like escaping from death row or getting into the academy were somewhat manageable, this time the task is to become the top student in the department. And to emphasize her despair, there's even a written exam. Mitchell is a self-proclaimed blockhead, making this mission feel absolutely impossible. Finally, the ceremony concludes. Just when Mitchell thinks she's free from the expiration status, her new predicament looms over her. Muttering to herself in frustration, she wonders if this is how she's going to die. Reina appears behind her, greeting her with a playful kick. What a way to say hello! Mitchell falls to the ground, and Reina mocks her, calling her a disappointment before walking away. But as soon as Reina steps away, she turns back, worried, and asks Mitchell if she's okay, or if she needs to go to the infirmary. Mitchell, lying on the ground, grumbles, wondering why Reina bothers with the act if she's just going to get worried afterward. Reina pulls her back up, concerned about Mitchell's condition, and starts fussing over her. Mitchell, fed up with everything, murmurs, timetable, repeatedly. Reina, deciding Mitchell is unwell, insists on taking her to the nurse's office. At the nurse's office, Reina gives Mitchell a timetable and asks if she's feeling better. Taking the timetable, Mitchell thanks her, though Reina seems curious about Mitchell's sudden interest in it. Of course, Mitchell needs to see the timetable if she wants to secure the top spot. Maybe there's an easy subject she can excel in. In the School of Magic, each grade has set courses, especially for freshmen who are given schedules without registering for classes. That means Mitchell has a slim chance, if she focuses on practical skills. Looking at the timetable, she notes the courses: Practical Magic, Combat Practice, Ethics and Etiquette, Criminal Law, and, to her horror, college math. Mitchell asks Raina if they calculate the volume of a cylinder using integrals. Raina replies that it's basic and something they learned when they were young. Mitchell is stunned. The education level in this world is ridiculously high. For someone who gave up on elementary math, this is a catastrophe. Raina, sensing Mitchell's despair, hands her some candy and medicine, urging her to rest and attend the first class since attendance is mandatory. She also advises Mitchell to stay away from her during the lesson. Raina praises Mitchell for intentionally avoiding her during the entrance ceremony, believing she has matured. Mitchell stares at Raina, realizing she noticed. If not for her peculiar concepts, Raina might actually seem like a nice person. Mitchell wonders why there's such a vast difference between the real Raina and the novel's Raina. Could it be because of her? Shaking off the thought, she decides it's impossible and heads to her first class. In class, Mitchell contemplates her chances. Even though she's a blockhead, if she studies like crazy, there might be hope. Since it's the first day, she prays for a simple lesson. The teacher begins with, as the saying goes, a good start is like winning half the battle. Keeping up with the lesson, Mitchell panics. None of this makes sense. Escaping her fate seems impossible, but she resolves to focus on preventing others from outperforming her. Summoning the system window, she hatches a devious plan to give everyone sleeping pills so she can be the only one taking the exam. That way, she'll secure the top spot. Leaving the classroom, Mitchell is delighted by her cleverness, praising herself for not giving up. The next class, Ethics and Etiquette, offers an unexpected advantage. It's taught by Professor Hemrick. In the novel, Professor Hemrick was nobleman to the core, despising commoners to the point of causing troubles as a result. Although he was mostly confined to the academic department dominated by noble families, he was compelled to teach high-level manners and etiquette to students in the Department of Magic due to principal directive. Reluctantly, he was attending classes in the Department of Magic for promotion, and that's where the tragedy began. Students began tormenting and disappearing the professor, and the professor's mental health started to deterioration without expressing any complaints. Before the start of the second semester, he took his own life, a victim of a clearly understood cause and effect. Maybe this time, too, she may be able to change the course of the original story. Mitchell decides to observe him carefully, hoping to use her knowledge to change the original storyline while also ensuring her survival. Are they wizards because they have gone crazy, or have they gone crazy because they are wizards? Their insanity is so extreme that there's even a saying that insanity is part of being a wizard. The Academy not only aims to develop students' abilities, but also their morality. That's why the administrators had to implement measures within the Department of Magic, including the exchange qualification system. If students achieve high results in all subjects, they are classified as capable of leading a normal social life, which allows them to interact with other departments of the school. Mitchell thinks to herself how clueless wizards must be to resort to such methods. It's evident in the ethics and etiquette class currently in progress. The teacher is explaining the proper way to tame a rabbit. At the back of the class, one student whispers, asking if rabbits aren't the creatures hanging in butcher shops. His friend replies that he has never caught a rabbit before, so he doesn't know. Mitchell is annoyed by their irrelevant conversation. Raina stands up, ready to answer the teacher's question. The teacher praises her, and as expected, Raina, the main character, stands out from the others. Excitedly, Raina says she knows how to catch a rabbit and explains that if she ever caught one, she'd grab its ears because rabbits have so many nerves there that they won't move. Mitchell realizes the teacher meant subdue the rabbit, not just catch it. Mitchell, however, regrets expecting too much from her. On the other hand, the rest of the class begins praising Raina. Mitchell wonders why the students are admiring her yet again. The teacher, clearly frustrated with Raina, decides to call on Mitchell instead, leaving her contemplating why she's suddenly being asked to answer. Nevertheless, Mitchell responds that if it's a pet rabbit, it should be hugged like in picture 4. The teacher commends her answer, confirming it's the correct one. An ominous atmosphere fills the classroom as the students begin murmuring, questioning if picture 4 was truly the right answer. Mitchell wonders how the class could really be this clueless. The teacher then states that the lecture is on ethics and etiquette, and from now on he will teach the standards of ethics accepted in society. In reality, this class is designed to instill basic common sense into the students over the next 4 years. Mitchell realizes it's going to be exhausting to live with these students for 4 years. The draining ethics and manners class finally ends, which is also the first and last class of the day. Feeling relieved, Mitchell decides to gather wild vegetables on the hill behind the dorms, not for food, but to level up her skills. The peaceful outing is disrupted when Reina tags along, pointing out the homeless village sign for the starlit village. Looking at the sign, Mitchell finds it ridiculous to go through the trouble of making a sign that blatantly advertises a village as homeless. Sarcastically, she suggests Reina should live there since it suits her caliber. Reina retorts that she wouldn't go without a friend. Dumb and dumber duo, for real. Reina finally asks why Mitchell is walking up the hill. Mitchell explains she's there to pick vegetables. Reina, confused, questions what vegetables are. Frustrated, Mitchell spins around and yells at Reina to stop bothering her. Suddenly, something catches her eye. It's a fern. Thrilled, Mitchell hadn't expected to find one so easily. She explains to Reina that these are western ferns and quite large. To Reina, they look like weeds, and she questions if they're edible. While picking the ferns, Mitchell assures her they are edible and tasty when prepared properly. Curious, Reina takes a bite but quickly remarks they aren't tasty. Mitchell nonchalantly mentions that the ferns are poisonous if eaten raw, causing Reina to spit them out in horror. Furious, Reina demands to know why Mitchell didn't warn her sooner, but Mitchell simply mocks her, saying no one told her to steal and eat them. Reina blames Mitchell for watching her eat without stopping her, but Mitchell, unfazed, opens her screen system to check her skill progress. She discovers that eating raw fern indeed increases poison resistance skills. To advance the math midterm as planned, she realizes they'll need to diligently build their poison resistance starting now. With no other choice, Mitchell eats the raw ferns despite knowing they're poisonous. Reina, shocked, questions why Mitchell is willingly eating something poisonous. The scene shifts to Mitchell receiving a certificate for completing a work-study scholarship application. The scholarship offers 300,000 crowns per month, which Mitchell considers very little, barely enough for pocket money. She realizes she will need to work during vacation to earn extra money, as leaving the academy requires crossing a large freshwater lake, making part-time work outside impractical. She guesses her mother doesn't have the flexibility to provide extra funds. Walking out, she notices the signboards for the combat technique department and the magic department. The two departments traditionally don't get along, and even the graffiti matches their long-standing rivalry. Mitchell wishes she had a camera to take a picture, wondering if Reina has one. Suddenly, she senses a dark aura. It's Professor Hemrick rushing somewhere. The reason why he was rushing was the stalker behind him. Mitchell quickly recalls the plot involving the professor, who became hostile toward commoners due to a stalker. The professor endured the stalking of a female student until he couldn't take it anymore. He erupted his pent-up emotion, called her filthy and disgusting, and lost his mind. At the time, the students who witnessed the scene started tormenting the professor, showing him their true colors. Unable to bear the pain, the professor took his life, and the female student who stalked her withdrew from the school shortly. Mitchell intends to change the plot. To prevent the professor from taking his life, the simplest way would be to kill him before he commits suicide, but that would just be a different way which would lead his death. This doesn't change the plot. Determined to change the plot, Mitchell decides to confront the stalker. Using her ice skill, Mitchell terrifies the girl stalking the professor. As the girl's hair slides away from her face, revealing a scar, Mitchell realizes the girl wasn't hiding her face for fashion but because of the scar. Mitchell firmly tells the girl to stop following the professor as it makes others uncomfortable. The professor, initially hesitant, mutters that it's fine, but Mitchell presses if he is fine, then can she follow him too? Even after graduation, she will follow him until his deaf professor finally speaks. He detests of being followed. Mitchell encourages him to speak up more often instead of bottling up his emotions. Professor points isn't etiquette, score more important, to which she replies she hopes he can tolerate the penalty points. While walking away, he praises that she still have some common sense. Mitchell is pissed if he is going to only do this much to save himself. Turning to the girl, Mitchell repeats her actions are making others uncomfortable. She leans forward not to hide her pretty face and to walk with confidence. Embarrassed, the girl pushes Mitchell away. Mitchell apologizes, saying if people praise her beauty too much she might go crazy. The comment only makes the girl blush harder. As Mitchell walks away, she reminds the girl not to do things that make others uncomfortable and adds that she hopes the stalking will stop. Mitchell feels satisfied with herself, thinking it's a perfect execution and an even more perfect exit. Meanwhile, the girl places a hand on her chest, her mind racing. She marvels at how entirely different Mitchell is from the professor. Blushing again as she recalls the compliment, a small smile creeps onto her face, and she finds herself longing to know Mitchell's name. Mitchell is cleaning, but there isn't much to clean. The weather is nice, and with Reina not around, there's no better place for Mitchell to be. To understand how she manages to ditch Reina, who sticks to Mitchell like gum, one must go back to the story of Mitchell's first real combat class. Real combat class is a time set aside for assessing and training individual abilities in preparation for actual combat. Everyone brings whatever skills they have, but the class often descends into chaos when the professor announces that he will be selecting a class representative during the first lesson. The attack magicians, including Reina, go wild. Eventually, the first class is abruptly halted. The teacher shouts at the 3 students who attack and imposes disciplinary action. They are prohibited from leaving the dormitory except during class hours. That's how Mitchell gains some peace without lifting a finger. Not only that, but her calm demeanor during the chaos catches her teacher's eye. The teacher approaches her, stating that she is the only one who remains composed. He says there is no one else but her who can handle the responsibility and offers her the position of class representative. Unfazed, Mitchell replies that if she is to kill the rest of the class, then she will consider taking on the role of first class representative. But Mitchell doesn't like the idea, nor does she want the position, even if it means death. She despises the very thought of being the class representative. Frustrated, the teacher walks away, calling her a hopeless magician. Mitchell finds the situation amusing. Why is he acting this way when she declines politely later? To earn some pocket money, Mitchell faces another crisis when she applies for a work scholarship. The head questions whether she, as a magician, can handle the paperwork tasks. Mitchell admits that she might be a blockhead who can't even calculate the volume of a cylinder through integration. But she promises to do her best if given the chance. The teacher, overhearing, whispers that paperwork can be tough and wonders just how much of a blockhead she is. Despite the drag-out situation, Mitchell manages to secure the position. Now, with Reina currently banned from going out, there is no one to disturb Mitchell's work. She dances while sweeping the floor, happy with her peaceful academy life. Suddenly, a thought crosses her mind. If she keeps sweeping along this path, it will lead to the academy department grounds. Like a ninja, she walks along the wall. It might be unintentional, but she wonders if, by any chance, she can meet her favorite prince, Sion. She blushes after seeing him. She starts fangirling over him. His tall stature, jet black hair, and a face filled with excellence mesmerize her. Meanwhile, Sion, somewhere nearby, feels chills for no apparent reason. He is even more handsome than she imagines. After that fateful day when they first meet, she thinks he would be shocked and hide in his room. But he acts intentionally calm, as if nothing has happened, and confidently attends school. She finds it quite impressive. Mitchell wants to talk to him, but she knows he might not recognize her, so she plans to sneak a peek instead. Suddenly, a gust of wind blows Sion's bookmark, and it falls beside Mitchell. In reality, this is part of Mitchell's wicked plan. She knows she must keep her distance, but she can't help herself. Sion walks toward Mitchell, sure that his bookmark has flown in that direction. However, he flinches upon seeing her. He notices her staring at him, and Mitchell ponders. What if he discovers her identity? After all, they have shared a bed once. Up close, Sion looks even more angelic. He calls her country chicken. Mitchell looks around, wondering if he is truly calling her that. He assures her that he is and demands that she bring him his bookmark. Saddened that Sion doesn't recognize her, Mitchell thinks about giving him the bookmark from the bottom of her heart. But if she takes one more step, she'll enter the academic department premises, and doing so without permission will result in penalties. She states that if he truly wants the bookmark, he should crawl on all fours to get it. In her mind, however, the translation is, "Dear Sion, please come closer." Sion asks if she knows who he is, to which she answers no. She then asks if he knows who she is, though internally she thinks, how could she not know her favorite prince? Sion grows angry, wondering how she dares to act this way toward him. Mitchell finds his red, flustered face cute. Normally, members of the royal family have guards with them at the academy to avoid dealing with commoners, but Sion appears to be a destitute prince without a guard. Mitchell surmises that nobles must mock him behind his back, leaving him full of inferiority complexes. Sion moves forward and slaps her across the face. Mitchell is stunned, but quickly realizes the slap doesn't hurt at all. Instead, it tickles. She wonders if he is some kind of baby kitten. How can he be so weak and insignificant? Sion stutters, saying he will let her go this time. Mitchell finds his embarrassment adorable and thinks she might die from how cute he is. Sion, however, demands that she return his bookmark. Just a little bit longer, Mitchell thinks. She wants to tease him more. She puts the bookmark back in her pocket. There is a speechless silence before Sion asks what nonsense she is trying to pull. He reminds her that he has mentioned he is from the royal family. Before he can finish, Mitchell mocks him, asking if he is going to run to his daddy because he is royalty. That comment is kinda personal, but I like it. She points out that she has heard that the Majesty doesn't acknowledge princes unless it's a special occasion. This flusters Sion even more. Jumping away, Mitchell mentions that she will keep the bookmark as a souvenir. If he still wants it, he can find her in the School of Magic. Sion shouts after her, calling her an insane girl. Meeting Sion and looting his bookmark is her favorite thing of the day. She feels like she can even take a hit from Reina now. Mitchell returns to her room, calling out to Reina. Reina fires her magic, annoyed at being disturbed in her depressed state. Reina asks what Mitchell is doing there. Mitchell tells her she has just finished her work as a working student. Reina expresses her desire to do that too, but Mitchell informs her that the deadline has already passed. Mitchell has applied secretly, knowing Reina would try to compete if she had told her earlier. Reina throws a tantrum over this, and Mitchell calls her a bourgeois noble. There is a knock at the door. A boy asks if Mitchell is there. She opens the door, curious about what has happened. The boy informs her that the dean is looking for her because she has stolen something from Prince Sion. Mitchell is confused about how Sion even knows her name. The boy explains that Sion has described her as a magic department student with split ends, freckles, glasses, and a strange way of speaking. Even Reina can tell it's her. It looks like Reina has to accompany Mitchell to the dean's office now. At the dean's office, Sion sits, ready to make Mitchell face the consequences of her actions. However, Mitchell is happily dancing, seemingly carefree, having met Sion twice already. The dean points out that he should listen to Mitchell's side of the story as well, which flusters Sion. He questions if he is doubting him, adding that if they don't want to ignore the words of the royal family, they should punish her immediately. Although he is a powerless prince, Mitchell still finds him cute. The dean looks at Mitchell for a while before questioning if she really stole the prince's bookmark. The dean, being the head professor of Krull Academy, listens intently as Sion points at the bookmark Mitchell is holding. Mitchell raises the bookmark, wondering aloud if this is what they are talking about. Sion is certain it is his bookmark and immediately calls Mitchell a thief. In response, Mitchell chomps the bookmark with her teeth, leaving Sion to scream in disbelief at the kind of person she is. A human with one brain cell, I can tell. Mitchell laughs, declaring that with this act, Sion's bookmark will stay with her forever. She cheekily adds that human cells renew every 3 months, so it's perfectly fine to devour Sion's things every 3 months. Sion abruptly turns to the dean, questioning if he still doubts him after witnessing this. The dean, however, turns back to Mitchell, wanting an explanation. Mitchell confidently states that she didn't steal anything, but rather obtained it from a fight with Sion. Sion angrily denies this, insisting that she stole it by force. The dean stands there, unable to process the situation. Finally, the dean speaks, stating that if it was obtained as loot, then there's nothing they can do about it. This flusters Sion even more, while Mitchell can't believe the excuse actually worked. Even the dean appears unable to take action. Suddenly, someone rushes into the office, asking if Mitchell is still there. Mitchell wonders why the second dean has shown up. The second dean goes straight to the prince, offering polite words and insisting that Sion didn't need to come in person since he could handle the disciplinary matters himself. Mitchell is confused about how the situation escalated more than she anticipated when Sion doesn't seem to hold significant influence. The second dean adds that if any further issues arise, Sion should call him directly, as there's no need to intervene personally. This pleases Sion, who responds that if the second dean insists so much, he can't refuse. Meanwhile, Mitchell observes that the academy dean doesn't seem particularly upset about being called to handle the situation, which she finds unusual. The second dean approaches Mitchell and whispers that he has heard everything from the Duke and will handle the prince, so she doesn't need to worry. Mitchell processes the situation, realizing that by Duke, he must mean Duke Nephthys, her father. She feels confused by the turn of events but understands the implications. The dean comments that it seems she has landed herself a powerful ally. Mitchell herself isn't sure about this, but the dean seems amused by her improved manners. She only displays them because he is her teacher. She greets him formally, feeling as if her spine is straightening. The dean remarks that those with good instincts tend to live long lives. He adds that if she survives until her 4th year, she can come to him, as he will be her advisor after graduation. Mitchell wonders what he means by this but declines the offer, explaining that he seems like someone who would be a pain to deal with. The dean chuckles and assures her that she will find out naturally. Among the fourth-year professors, he will be the most comfortable for her to work with. Mitchell notices his smiling expression even through his mask and feels reluctant. Suddenly, a screen appears, announcing that the plot has changed. Mitchell is confused as she didn't do anything. She wonders if it's because of her contact with Sion. However, the timing seems off. If the plot were to change, it should have done so when she ate the bookmark. The only other possibility is the dean's claim to be her professor, which is strange since the dean wasn't mentioned in the original work. She looks here and there as there's no way an extra can have this much influence on the plot, but it's possible that it's not the dean but mentioned by name, and if she managed to find out the name she might be able to figure out who is it. She looks around, hoping to find a clue, but there's no nameplate on his desk. The only option left is to check his business card to learn his name. The dean notices her actions and questions what she's doing. Mitchell replies that she would like his business card. The dean moves to retrieve it from his locker. Meanwhile, Mitchell grows more anxious, wondering why her waist keeps sinking. Her forced combat power measurement skill, Beast Charisma, gauges an opponent's level based on the stiffness of her neck and waist. For example, even saying hello is the limit when facing Reina, and Mitchell can barely lift her head in front of the second dean. Yet with this dean, her waist bends more than it did in front of Hubert, the deputy director who fought the main character of the original work for 2 consecutive nights. Mitchell realizes that this dean is an even greater monster than Hubert. She feels she must measure his power carefully. Kneeling was fine, headbutting too. However, the dean tells her there's no need to kneel just to get a business card. Mitchell insists that she just wanted to kneel. Her knees and everything was trembling because she was really scared. The dean finds her behavior strange but finally hands over his business card. Mitchell quickly takes it and leaves the office. The dean watches her go, calling her a peculiar student. Outside, Mitchell runs to hide behind a wall, shivering from the entire experience. She pulls out the card, eager to see the dean's name, only to find the words "Common Professor." Mitchell bursts into laughter at how absurdly generic the name is, concluding that it must be a pseudonym. Realizing the business card was meaningless, she slumps to the ground, comforting herself by pleading internally for the professor not to misunderstand her intentions. She prays the professor doesn't get any dreadful ideas. Mitchell comforts herself with the thought that in life, there might exist a professor named simply Professor, as she also lives with 2 biochips implanted in her body. Although unsettling, this isn't important to her right now. Her focus is on becoming the top student in her class, as it is the only way to escape the time limit she is under. To achieve this, she has been diligently working on her toxin immunity, though she cannot determine exactly what level 5 entails. She ponders where she might find something stronger than Ferns and Wonders if she should visit the academy department and test whatever poison she comes across. Her eyes catch sight of the little shiny stalker she noticed earlier. It seems the girl has given up on her vision-blocking hairstyle. The girl comes running toward Mitchell, making her wonder if she has ever told the girl her name. If not, how did the stalker manage to find her? The girl eagerly asks Mitchell how her freshly cut bangs look. While Mitchell finds her beautiful, the bangs themselves look like a mess to her. The girl panics, and Mitchell grows curious about what she used to cut them. Hesitant, the girl eventually reveals a pair of scissors. Not only are the scissors large, they are also vicious-looking, prompting Mitchell to wonder where the girl could have possibly gotten them. Mitchell takes the scissors from her and asks the girl to close her eyes, assuring her she will fix the bangs. Once finished, Mitchell is relieved to find that her part-time job skills have not rusted. The bangs now look absolutely perfect. As expected, she thinks when the model is stunning, the act of cutting becomes enjoyable. Mitchell calls the girl her customer and adds that from now on she will be the one cutting her bangs. Reina, standing nearby, casts her flame skill toward them, prompting Mitchell to call her a crazy girl for almost ruining her masterpiece. Reina, however, blames Mitchell for standing in that direction. Declaring that they will settle things once and for all, Reina prepares to fight. However, the commotion is interrupted by a loud bang on the classroom door. The teacher enters, calling them darn brats, and ordering them to stop moving as the class is about to start. As expected from the magic department, even the professors have terrible personalities. Before starting the lesson, the teacher introduces a guest. The dean of the academy has come to observe, stating he was bored and assuring them there's no need to worry about his presence. The dean introduces himself as both the dean and a common professor. Mitchell feels uneasy, wondering why he is there while the time limit on her status window continues ticking. She grows irritated, muttering internally about how ridiculous the dean's title is. Determined to avoid trouble, she hadn't expected to run into such problems here. Before the class begins, the teacher makes an announcement. Many students had entered the academy expecting priest career counseling, but this will only be offered at the end of the first year. The teacher warns them to avoid expulsion until then. Mitchell reflects on how many students, desperate for career counseling, stand out in their efforts to succeed. The teacher explains that, at the end of the year, the academy invites priests to conduct career assessments to evaluate the students' growth. In this world, called the dawn of repentance, serving the one true God is central. This God is believed to be the creator of all things and the absolute being who governs all destinies. Those who serve this God are known as priests of fate. They are said to predict a person's destiny, not by seeing the future but by consulting the God to determine the flowering or growth potential of a skill. Biochips, made using mana stones, are considered a link to the God of fate. Priests can use their abilities to evaluate an individual's potential through these stones. Students endure the hardships of academy life, which feels like imprisonment, for the chance to undergo these assessments. Returning to the lesson, the teacher mentions that overusing magic will cause students to bleed. Mitchell recalls her earlier plans as the teacher distributes one counter meter to each student. Confused about its purpose, Mitchell listens as the teacher explains that the meters will monitor their magic usage and continue until they vomit blood. The room falls silent as everyone wonders at the absurdity. Mitchell notices the oddly red soil in the field and suspects it might be stained with the blood of students who collapsed here. While she understands the intention of testing limits, the method seems extreme. The stalker girl raises her hand, asking about individuals with 2 magic skills. Mitchell turns to her in awe, surprised that the girl possesses not 1 but 2 rare abilities. According to the student records, only one of her skills is listed. Mitchell, remembering the sharp scissors, ponders if her skill is to sharp objects. Hesitant, the stalker girl reveals her skills: Sharpener and Poison Combination. Mitchell is confused as to why someone with no ties to an assassination lineage has such a dangerous poison-based ability. Suddenly, she realizes that this poison combination might help her test her toxin immunity. Placing a hand on the stalker girl's shoulder, Mitchell asks for her name. Reluctantly, the girl introduces herself as Cana. Mitchell praises her name and beauty. At that moment, Reina fires another flame attack at Mitchell, who counters it with an ice throw. Though the moment is critical for Mitchell, Reina continues to be a nuisance. Reina justifies her actions by reminding Mitchell that the teacher had instructed them to use magic, without specifying a target. Mitchell gladly accepts the challenge. Mitchell then decides to end it all today for the better. They begin dueling, exchanging magic attacks. After a heated battle, Mitchell emerges victorious. Reina, visibly frustrated, cannot understand the vast skill gap. The reason was that Reina started with just fanning the flames. It's absurd as it can't beat Mitchell in a volume of shadow because she was using tricks. Mitchell mocks Reina, advising her to better analyze her opponent next time. Mitchell was able to win the battle because she was drawing water from Nephthys' heirloom. The dean interrupts and orders Mitchell to take out the heirloom she used. Silence falls as Mitchell grows frustrated, wondering how the dean could have known about the heirloom. Mitchell is amused, wondering if there's truly a power strong enough to detect this magic, or if it's simply an ability to sense the heirloom's power, or perhaps just a trick. Despite his inner doubts, Mitchell maintains a polite attitude and questions how the dean found out. He begins to speak, but then stops and states that it must be due to the dean's magic emotion skill. Mitchell, visibly irritated, he adds that practicing is essential to knowing one's limits, and that tricks won't help anyone grow. The dean's words are mostly correct. Furthermore, there's no guarantee the heirloom's power will last forever. However, as Mitchell has already used a significant amount of power, she wonders if it will work. She attempts to cast her skill, but ends up coughing blood. Seeing this, the dean knows she needs to be assessed separately. Mitchell anticipates this outcome, but is still annoyed, as other kids refine after using their magic. Why was she the only one to collapse? Suddenly, someone is seen rushing toward the infirmary. It's Cana, who is going to visit Mitchell. For the first time in her life, Mitchell called her a friend. Cana was supposed to visit with some fruits Mitchell likes, but unwelcome guests are intervening. Reina, one of the guests, tells Cana that Mitchell wouldn't like it if Cana came along, adding that Mitchell wouldn't want to see her gloomy face while suffering in pain. Cana counters by saying Mitchell doesn't like noisy things either. This annoys Reina, who retorts by asking what Cana even knows about Mitchell. Cana pauses and gives a detailed list of everything Mitchell likes, causing Reina to feel uneasy as she wonders how Cana managed to gather such information. Reina asks if Cana knows everything about her too, to which Cana replies, "It's an occupational hazard." Reina feels even worse and questions what kind of occupational hazard an academy student could have. Cana stays silent, not wanting to reveal her secret. She belongs to an assassination organization. If Reina knew this, it might put Cana on Mitchell's bad side. While Cana knows Mitchell is not someone who judges others based on their past, she still doesn't want to risk getting caught. Mitchell has done so much for her without expecting anything in return, even calling her a friend. Cana recalls her father once telling her that no one would like her if she were ugly. If someone did like her, he had said, they must be a good person and should be made either a friend or a spouse. Back then, Cana had sought kindness from Professor Hemorrhage, who treated her well for the first time. She used to follow people around, trying to make them fall for her. But after meeting Mitchell, she realized that the kindness Hemorrhage showed was superficial, something anyone could offer. Mitchell, on the other hand, gave her genuine advice, telling her not to do things others disliked. Mitchell even complimented her, calling her pretty despite her disgraceful reputation in the family. Although it hasn't been a month since they met, Mitchell means the world to Cana. She shifted her target to Mitchell, and so far everything has gone according to plan. Intentionally, Cana messes up her bangs to catch Mitchell's attention and subtly shows her a combination of magic spells she discovered through research, successfully piquing Mitchell's interest. When Mitchell trimmed Cana's bangs last time, it gave her a strangely pounding heart, something she interpreted as a bond of friendship. Cana's next plan involves helping Evan develop immunity to poison while secretly mixing in brainwashing drugs to secure a lifelong friendship. However, everything was ruined because of Reina. If Reina hadn't provoked Mitchell in the first place, she wouldn't have collapsed. Cana plans to kill Reina. Although Reina is a noble, Cana believes that if her family handles the aftermath, there won't be any problems. Suddenly, Sion arrives. Reina is furious, wondering who would dare to interrupt, but upon noticing him, she realizes it's Prince Sion. Both Reina and Cana greet him and ask why he's here. Sion explains that due to Mitchell's clueless actions, he has been assigned 30 hours of campus volunteer work. He needs to borrow books from the library and insists that Mitchell accompany him. Reina is confused about what this has to do with volunteering. She tells him Mitchell is sick and in the infirmary, and Cana seconds this. Unfazed, Sion demands to know what they expect him to do after learning about Mitchell's situation and asks to be guided to the infirmary. Both Reina and Cana silently wish they could kill him. Reina knows that even though he is a prince, he holds no real power. He is often called Prince in name only Sion Crowell. There are several reasons why he is known by that name. Generally, households with advanced skills are successful by women. This fact has been proven genetically after 1,000 years of trial and error, with a high probability of the same lineage's skills being expressed through the mother's line. Sometimes there are cases where men succeed to ensure concerns about hereditary diseases and the influx of stronger skills, but this occurs rarely, once every 3 generations. That in most families the eldest daughter inherit the line. The royal family is no exception. It's unlikely that the successor position will be stolen unless some serious mischief happens, and with the current empress possessing charisma skills and being the eldest daughter, it's unlikely that the successor position will be stolen unless some serious mischief happens. The conservative class would prefer the eldest daughter to succeed to the throne without any upheaval. Therefore, there's no reason to entertain the demands of a pitiful prince who lack both talent and solid background. Reina doesn't want unnecessary trouble but decides a brief visit to the infirmary won't hurt. Confident that Mitchell will choose her over the others, Reina agrees to guide Sion. Cana, however, worries about Mitchell's opinion. When they enter the infirmary, Reina demands to borrow Mitchell's camera. Sion insists Mitchell accompany him to the library, and Cana suggests Mitchell might need more blood. They all argue about who Mitchell will choose. Sitting with the dean, Mitchell is confused by their sudden arrival and the nonsense they are speaking. When forced to choose, she surprises everyone by choosing Sion. Reina calls her a crazy girl and demands an explanation, but Mitchell jumps out of bed, eager to go to the library. Unfortunately, she collapses from dizziness. Determined not to let something like dizziness stop her, she begins crawling. The dean advises her to wait for the medicine to take effect, but Mitchell stubbornly refuses. Reina wonders why Mitchell chose the prince over her, while Sion smirks sarcastically and tells Mitchell to get going. Reina contemplates killing him out of frustration. Cana notes that the royal family is peculiar, which makes Reina suspicious about how Cana could say something like that. She begins to wonder if Cana would truly kill a noble without hesitation. Meanwhile, Mitchell feels overjoyed at the prospect of a library date with Sion, thinking it must be her lucky day. She has made friends with someone who has combination poison skills, received sweet advice from the dean at the infirmary, and now has this unexpected opportunity to go on a library date. However, she suddenly notices a familiar medicinal scent coming from Sion. As she tries to recall where she has smelled it before, she remembers it's the scent of the wound medicine she once used on her back. She gets worried over why Sion smells like it. She calls out to Sion, telling him that he stinks. He tells her to stop talking nonsense, but she insists that it does stink. He turns to her, stating that his whole life is cleaner than hers, pointing out as she is trying to insult him. To Mitchell, his grim face appears cute, and she wonders how he can be so prickly with such a beautiful face. She mentions that he smells like medicine, as the scent of wound ointment emanates from him, pointing out that she knows this scent since she has been using it for quite some time. This flinches him, but he dismisses it, saying it is none of her business. Mitchell ponders if he got hurt, as it is said that every prince is wounded enough to need ointment. Nevertheless, he hands her a list of books she needs to borrow, pointing out that she should borrow them in her name, not his. She checks the list, confused if this is really what he wants her to do, contemplating why he isn't doing it himself. Gripping the situation, she understands that Sion wants to borrow books that are all in the field of criminal law and political science. If he gets caught borrowing such books, it could be revealed that he has not received proper education as a member of the imperial family, which might turn him into a laughingstock. That is why he doesn't want to do it himself. Since the imperial family doesn't teach governance studies to Sion, it seems he wants to study them on his own. It's like the great Sion making futile efforts to climb a tree he cannot climb. Sion questions what she is looking at, wanting to know when she will leave to fetch the books. Pointing at the list, she mentions that a new edition of the General Theory of Criminal Law has been released. She knows this because she was forced to study it at magic school. In the original work, Sion was embarrassed due to his wrong knowledge during a fight with the third princess, and perhaps he got this misinformation from outdated books. The new edition contains other modifications as well. As she leaves, she points out that she will ask the librarian to get the book for him. Meanwhile, Sion mutters, calling her a scoundrel, saying that's not even funny. When she returns, she raises a book titled 30 Ways to Win an Argument, mentioning that they gave her this book as a reward, and she thought he might need it in the future. Sion is visibly furious over her mocking him. Mitchell, however, grows concerned about whether he can carry all these books at once since they are quite heavy. This angers Sion further as he questions how she views him. She retorts, asking what he means, pointing out that he is weak and incompetent, despite having the pride and demeanor of an elder. His abilities, she notes, do not align with his pride, leaving him filled with feelings of self-destruction and inferiority. Mitchell criticizes him so effectively that he is consumed with rage. He grabs one of the books, threatening to punish her for insulting the royal family. Mitchell mocks him further, suggesting he doesn't even have the strength to do so and pointing out how pathetic he looks. A while later, Sion is out of breath. Mitchell recommends that he should run to increase his lung capacity. Sion calls her an insolent woman. As she takes her leave, she remarks that if he feels embarrassed about training in the academic department, he can feel free to visit the magic department. From behind, he shouts that he won't come there. Mitchell recalls how she herself was criticized by the dean of her department for lacking physical strength. The dean had told her that the reason she fell while using her mental powers was due to her weak physical condition. Mitchell had no choice but to increase her physical strength and consume more calories. The dean had compared her condition to trying to run a windmill with a fan. He had warned her that there were only 2 windows of opportunity to fix this condition and gain several key skills. Determined, Mitchell decides to work on her poison resistance and gain weight first. The scene shifts to the cafeteria, where Mitchell takes a lot of fatty food. She feels nauseated trying to eat so much, but she pushes through, knowing it is necessary to build endurance. Meanwhile, Cana catches her and approaches. Mitchell questions if something has happened. Cana tells her that there is no one in her room tonight. Of course there wouldn't be when she is living in a single-person room. Cana then offers to help her, surprising Mitchell. Curious, Mitchell asks what makes her feel she needs help. Cana points out that she knows Mitchell needs to build her endurance and adds that she can help her with that. However, Mitchell counters by asking why Cana wants to help her. Embarrassed, Cana states that they are friends, and that's why. Mitchell ponders if they are really that close, as she doesn't know, but decides to move on to the next stage. She agrees to Cana's offer. Before leaving, Cana tells her to come to her room after dinner, saying she will get everything prepared. Mitchell nods. Even though she is uneasy, she nodded on purpose as it won't kill her. Cana's skills seem like those of a famous assassin to her. If something goes wrong, Mitchell plans to slap her and run away. She finishes her food quickly to go to Cana's room later that night. When Mitchell arrives, Cana offers her a drink. To Mitchell, it seems highly suspicious, making her wonder what Cana could have put in it. Planning to drink while checking her status window, Mitchell notices her poison resistance drop by 10 points. Furious, she realizes Cana has given her poison. Contemplating if Cana is really an assassin, Cana tells her to stop as drinking this much would be enough. Mitchell questions what this all is about. However, Cana laughs it off as if nothing happened. Cana promotes her that she can ask her anything as she is willing to help her in anything because she is her best and only friend. Mitchell states how she suddenly became her favorite. Cana presents a necklace and a cup with a candle, insisting her not to hesitate as they are best friends, making Mitchell even more annoyed by her constant use of best friend. Mitchell grows more irritated but decides to stay, as there is nothing physically wrong with her body. Before revealing her plans to Cana, Mitchell asks if Cana herself has poison resistance. This makes Cana flinch. Mitchell adds that if Cana feels uncomfortable, she won't force her to talk and states that she doesn't care if Cana has a partner. The mention of a partner makes Cana light up with excitement. Twisting Mitchell's words, Cana suggests that they could be partners, as this is their first collaboration together. Mitchell denies this, but Cana ignores her, overjoyed at the idea of collaborating. Cana finally admits that she doesn't have poison resistance. To achieve it, one must start training from a very young age, and perhaps even more rigorously than Mitchell did. Mitchell feels overwhelmed, realizing how intense such training must be. Mitchell then directly calls Cana's name, questioning if she is a member of an assassin group. Cana vehemently denies it, repeating twice that she has nothing to do with them. Mitchell sarcastically remarks that she doesn't need to say it twice. Based on Cana's skills and training, Mitchell had thought she was part of the region's best assassin group. However, seeing this strong denial, she begins to doubt her own assumptions. Mitchell sighs, reasoning that if Cana were truly a member of the assassin group, her future would already be bright, leaving no reason to attend the academy. To Mitchell, what matters is Cana's abilities, not her identity. Finally, Mitchell reveals her hard plan for the midterm math exam at the college. The plan is to use poison to leave everyone critically ill except herself, allowing her to take the exam alone. Extending her hand toward Cana, she asks if she is going to help her. Placing her hand on her chest, Cana agrees to help Mitchell. She tells her that she will make a poison that causes death by vomiting blood from the 7 holes. However, Mitchell immediately stops her, saying there is no need to kill anyone. It would be sufficient if everyone just fell asleep on the day of the exam. Cana questions if Mitchell is talking about sedative pills. She adds that even if they can't make the pills, there is a way they can obtain them. Mitchell ponders, exasperated, wondering what a way even means. She is now convinced that Cana must truly be a favorite in the assassin family. Despite this, Mitchell thinks it's fine as long as Cana says she'll help and decides to stay cautious for now. Giving Cana a thumbs up, she tells her to proceed. Cana promises that she will have everything ready before the midterm exam. Finally, Cana brings forward a box of medicine she has prepared for Mitchell. She explains that she tried to create the medicine gradually, so as not to put too much strain on Mitchell's body. If Mitchell takes it, Cana assures her that it will help her develop toxic resistance. Mitchell knows she must be careful, as there is always a risk. Before she leaves, Cana stops her, saying there is one last thing. She brings out the necklace and candle cup again, her smile bright and lively. Cana starts repeating that they are best friends. Mitchell grows increasingly annoyed, wondering why Cana keeps repeating the words best friend over and over again. Cana then cheerfully asks Mitchell if she is her best friend. Realizing that Cana won't stop until she agrees, Mitchell sighs and reluctantly says, "Yes, we are friends." Cana beams with pride and declares that she is Mitchell's best friend, prompting Mitchell to call her a best friend too. "Long live our friendship," Cana exclaims. She seems absolutely delighted, as if she has achieved something great. Turning her back, Cana giggles quietly. As expected, the drug she prepared must have worked. Mitchell, clueless about what Cana is so happy about, feels she should congratulate her regardless. Now that this strange exchange is over, Mitchell desperately wants to leave. She doesn't want to get involved with Cana any further. The next day, the students gather on the grounds as the department head calls for the morning exercise. Every morning at exactly 6, the College of Magic holds morning exercises at the stadium. When anyone participates in gymnastics, they receive a stamp that can later be exchanged at the store. Most of the participants are homeless mages who live in Star Village. These individuals have been troublemakers for a long time. Mitchell notes that her skills are still developing, so participating might actually help her improve. Additionally, if she gets an attendance stamp, she will receive a store voucher, which is an added incentive. Mitchell is excited about the many benefits of gymnastics and plans to take full advantage of them. While she is working out, someone comments that it's amusing to see a first grader participating in gymnastics. Mitchell is visibly puzzled and wonders who this strange person is. The man introduces himself as the head of the star team, but Mitchell finds it odd that he sounds like an old man despite not looking older than 20. The man, seeing Mitchell for the first time, asks if this is her first time participating. When she confirms, he assumes she doesn't even know the origin of the songs used in their routines. He explains that the song they are using is a historical piece with lyrics and melodies written by the president of the university faculty. He adds that it's called magical aerobics. He excitedly warns her that it's a bit challenging, so she'll need to keep up. Mitchell is shocked, wondering why this morning exercise is so cheerful, and questions the meaning of the direct lyrics. The man explains further that the song was written by a former university president who was sent to the battlefield by order of the former emperor. In frustration, the man adds that the song is now played in an academy with judicial authority across regional boundaries. He mentions that the dean of the department at the time was imprisoned after his term ended. As Mitchell is about to comment on the lyrics, she hears someone shout, "Destroy the cruel empire." To her astonishment, everyone around her echoes the same words while continuing the warm-up. The man encourages her to join in and try to keep up. Though shocked, Mitchell joins them, wondering if this is really acceptable, despite crossing regional boundaries. Still, she finds her heartbeat quickening, feeling strangely excited. The man, addressing Mitchell as a newcomer, assists her and instructs her to point her finger to the sky in the next segment. She agrees to follow along. Memories flash in her mind of her school days when they were taught that killing someone would lead to punishment. Yet now, everyone hails her as a hero for supposedly killing 1,000 people during a war. With a final dramatic blast, the morning exercise ends. Mitchell remarks to the man that the exercise was exciting. The man, impressed, calls her promising and tells her the star team welcomes her anytime. She jokes that she refuses to be homeless. He clarifies that they're not homeless. They've built a tent with a roof. Later, another person seals Mitchell's card, and she realizes she needs to collect 100 seals from one store. She wonders where the store is and whether she'll have to go out every day until the break. She also ponders whether she can reduce her current penalty points. Mitchell devises a plan, thinking that if she falls into Reina's traps but manages to lose only a point or two, Reina will become homeless, allowing her to stay in the dormitory alone. She dreams of getting a big room to herself. Knowing that she needs to build stamina to continue participating in gymnastics, Mitchell decides to eat a high-calorie meal for training purposes. A high-calorie meal for training her body. She also examined the skills she couldn't do last time and also participated in gymnastics every day. She had been busy all the time and before she knew it. Mitchell is seen sweeping the floor when she notices the cherry blossoms have completely disappeared. She wonders if it's already midterms. It is said that many things happen in other departments before exams begin. She recalls attending the OT orientation, the general opening meeting, and MT membership training. She reflects that nothing out of the ordinary has occurred in the Magic Academy. It's normal here, though, because when people gather without a reason, they might end up killing each other. Mitchell questions whether this place is truly a university or a prison. She knows that with an exit permit, she could freely visit other colleges. Suddenly, she spots Professor Henrich, who looks very old. Despite the disappearance of former persecutors, it seems difficult to instill ethics in wizards. With exams approaching, Mitchell knows the professor must already be overwhelmed. Henrich suffers from a condition that causes seizures when touched by ordinary people, making it even harder for him to manage without assistance. Thinking aloud, Mitchell remarks that someone skilled could earn money with a part-time job helping him. She recognizes that his issue is psychological and cannot be helped easily. Determined to assist, Mitchell knocks on the professor's office door. When there's no response, she wonders if he'll ignore her entirely. Without hesitation, she kicks the door open, startling the professor. Henrich, shocked by her audacity, calls her actions improper. Mitchell defends herself, claiming no one told her not to enter. The professor scolds her, saying she still needs permission even if no one is inside. Mitchell brushes him off, explaining that she has work to do. Heinrich, visibly frightened, warns her that he might cancel her exam if she continues to behave recklessly. Unfazed, Mitchell walks up to him and questions why he doesn't delegate tasks to his teaching assistants. The professor wonders how, and Mitchell replies that she will help him. The professor protests, how will she even do that? Without waiting, Mitchell removes his gloves and grabs his hand. Heinrich screams and trembles. Mitchell wonders if his issue is truly psychological. She reasons that since he struggles to interact with ordinary people because of his condition, she, being different, shouldn't pose a problem. Though she acknowledges that her actions were reckless, Mitchell had intended to help. Now the situation has only grown more chaotic. Mitchell can't believe the professor is acting like this just because she held his hand. She wonders if this is acceptable behavior from an ethics teacher. The professor, on the other hand, is visibly confused and questions what is happening. Mitchell is equally puzzled as to what he means by that. The professor then asks why nothing is happening to him even after holding hands with her. Mitchell ponders if he is avoiding commoners due to some skill issue. In many ways, she thinks that's fortunate. The professor calls out Mitchell's surname Rafe and points out that he isn't familiar with any noble person by that name. He questions if she is an illegitimate child of some noble family. Mitchell, however, believes he doesn't need to know. The professor insists, stating that if she tells him the truth, he will treat her accordingly. But Mitchell remains indifferent, satisfied with the treatment she's already getting. Finally, Mitchell proposes working as his assistant, adding that the hourly wage of 30,000 crowns isn't a bad deal for him either. Mitchell reflects that this is the least she can expect from a person like him. If she performs well, she might even get a chance to sneak a look at the exam questions. However, the professor bluntly dismisses her hopes, stating that he will never entrust her with the question papers. Even so, Mitchell accepts the position and becomes busier than ever. With her morning exercises, campus work, classes, errands to the science lab, assistant duties, and preparation with Cana, she can't even remember the last time she rested in her dorm. As Mitchell is walking to Rena's class, she wonders what Rena wants. Rena, looking worried, asks why Mitchell has been acting so indifferent toward her lately. These words give Mitchell chills, finding them creepy and unpleasant. She thinks she would prefer Rena to curse at her rather than speak like this. Rena, saddened, points out that Mitchell hasn't been spending time with her, asking if she is taking the concept of obsession too seriously. But Mitchell insists she has never had such a concept. As Mitchell tries to leave, Rena suddenly jumps on her, clinging to her and crying, begging to be taken along. Mitchell pushes Rena away, telling her she's taking this obsession thing too far. Rena insists she will cover her face so no one will know it's her, but Mitchell counters that everyone will recognize the tall, red-haired girl clinging to her. Rena, the heiress of Lethem, retorts by asking why her house is so famous. Mitchell sighs and replies that Rena isn't famous because of her lineage, but because of her personality. She then wonders how Rena ended up like this. Mitchell tells Rena she's going to her part-time job and that Rena can do whatever she wants. Rena, undeterred, decides to tag along. Walking down the corridor, other students pity Mitchell for dealing with so much. Mitchell snaps back, stating that it has always been like this. Everyone around her greets her, laughing at how funny it looks. Rena comments on Mitchell's sociable and cool personality, but Mitchell corrects her, saying she isn't cool or intelligent. Rena refuses to believe her, arguing that her blue eyes, blue hair, and ice magic give her an undeniably cool aura. Mitchell insists otherwise. Rena jokes that Mitchell is lying because someone cool and intelligent like her wouldn't push Rena away. Mitchell, fed up with Rena's earlier corny remarks, decides to ignore her and focus on her work. They arrive at the professor's office, where the professor greets Mitchell but is shocked to see Rena with her. Mitchell internally notes she was right. The professor recognizes Rena even with her face covered. Mitchell explains that she brought Rena along because he told them not to wander alone. Though confused by her reasoning, the professor thanks Mitchell for her hard work. He then hands Mitchell some papers and instructs her to make 7 copies for his class. Mitchell wonders why 7 when there are 8 second-year students. The professor, with a straight face, informs her that one of them died yesterday during practice. This revelation shocks both Rena and Mitchell. Mitchell, however, maintains a straight face, reflecting on the absurdity of the magic department. She realizes the department is crazy and vows complete her 4 years soon to graduate as quickly as possible. She takes the papers to make copies. Reina jumps down and raises an objection. She argues that having Mitchell help him compromises the fairness of the exams. She points out the lecture material on his desk and suggests Mitchell might memorize it for the exams. The professor calmly replies that Mitchell isn't smart enough to do so. Mitchell seconds this, questioning why Reina is so angry over it. Reina stubbornly insists that Mitchell, her cool and intelligent girl, can't possibly lack intelligence. The professor refutes her again, questioning why he would lie about such a thing. Mitchell agrees, admitting she's a blockhead who can't even measure the volume of a cylinder using integration. Reina, confused, asks Mitchell if she's ever done such a thing. Mitchell counters by asking Reina if she even knows how to solve a cylinder problem with integration. Reina panics, wondering if that question was supposed to involve integration. The professor mocks Reina's intelligence, making her scream in frustration. Mitchell feels slightly guilty, as it seems both of them are at fault. Deciding to focus on her work, Mitchell completes the professor's errands. Her next task involves borrowing books for Sion. Looking at the list, she finds it amusing and notes that Sion's dreams are unrealistic. She recalls reading similar books in a corner of her room, smiling at the stories, only to cry under her blanket when faced with reality. Mitchell vows to keep Sion's book list a secret. Later, Mitchell and Cana finalize preparations for their upcoming experiment. Cana explains that they'll inject medicine into tomatoes to observe the results. She notes that people often care about small details, such as exact weight differences of 5 grams. Mitchell wonders if anyone actually cares, but Cana assures her that many do. Mitchell remarks that the world of assassins is scary. Cana mentions that finding the center of balance in objects is crucial for detecting hidden drugs. Mitchell doesn't fully understand, but is content as long as the plan works. After all the planning, Mitchell heads back to her room, exhausted but relieved that preparations are nearly complete. All she needs to do now is get a good night's sleep, write her name on the exam paper, and leave. She enters her room thinking even if she just wrote her name only and leave, the only one who would be giving exams would be she and Cana, and even if she scores 0, the grade will be still confirmed as a plus. Mitchell decides to quickly wash up and go to sleep. Mitchell prepares to sleep. Reina suddenly shows up wearing glasses and a different outfit. Reina mocks Mitchell, stating that her cool and intelligent girl is actually not smart, and Mitchell is confused as what in the hell is this situation. Reina points that if Mitchell can't solve college-level maths, she won't be allowed to sleep tonight. Mitchell, frustrated, complains over how this situation can completely derail her plans. Early in the morning, just before the exams, Reina is determined to make Mitchell smarter. Reina, who looks somewhat dangerous, appears unexpectedly. Mitchell, finding it all nonsense, decides to leave this crazy place. As she reaches the door, she realizes there is no doorknob. Frustrated, she shouts at Reina, demanding to know where the doorknob is. Reina, intentionally acting clueless, wonders aloud where it could have gone. Then, in a second, she excitedly admits she broke it. Mitchell curses her, shouting so loudly it echoes throughout the dorm. Mitchell now realizes that all the noise she heard earlier, even during her shower, was Reina removing the doorknob. Mitchell activates her power, planning to break the door, but Reina insists she should think it through. Reina warns that breaking the door would result in both of them receiving penalty points. Even shouting in the dorms at night and calling the dorm supervisor could lead to the same outcome. Mitchell hesitates, realizing Reina has a point. However, Reina also mentions that if they manage to stay quiet until morning, only she will receive penalty points for breaking the doorknob. Mitchell ponders this logic and reluctantly agrees. Reina, with a commanding tone, orders Mitchell to sit at her desk if she doesn't want penalty points. Mitchell, though angry, has no choice but to comply. She reflects on Reina's situation, knowing Reina already has 3 confirmed penalty points. If Reina gets caught twice more, she'll be expelled from the dorm. Mitchell is confident that if Reina discovers how much of a blockhead she is, particularly in math, she might run away from her. Mitchell has always been notoriously bad at math, even before possessing this body. She wonders if she can truly handle starting from scratch with quadratic equations. By sunrise, Mitchell is still sitting at her desk. That crazy and cruel Reina has actually managed to make her solve calculus with her own hands. Mitchell is utterly confused. How could this have happened? She looks at her paper in disbelief. Is it possible that, overnight, a blockhead like her managed to grasp vectors, trigonometric functions, and differential calculus? Mitchell begins to think Reina might be a genius teacher, born to instruct. Reina, exhausted and about to pass out on her bed, casually remarks that Mitchell's intelligence isn't so bad after all. Reyna falls asleep almost instantly, and Mitchell checks her pulse to confirm she's truly asleep. She is sure that Reyna might sleep all day without sleeping pills. Originally, she had planned to let Reyna take the penalty points alone, but now after receiving Reyna's gratitude, now she wonders if they should share the blame. Acting on impulse, Mitchell breaks the door herself. The head of the dorm storms in, screaming about the noise. As a result, Reyna's penalty points increase to 3, and Mitchell's climb to 2. Outside, Mitchell looks at the sky, unconcerned about the door she just broke, and heads to the exam room. Walking through the corridor, she notices that everyone who prepared breakfast is already asleep. Her plan seems to be going smoothly. Mitchell enters the exam room, expecting only Cana to be present. However, she sees a guy there as well. Still, she concludes it's fine. She wonders if he also has a high resistance to poison, considering how awake he seems. Then she remembers that he's a carnivore who won't even touch vegetables. She figures this won't affect his grades anyway, but it feels like a small setback on her side. The examiner enters, confused as to why only 3 people are present. However, he was easily convinced, as he states it looks like magicians are weird by nature and instructs them to write their names and start the exam. Mitchell looks at the question paper utterly amused and starts crying, startling the professor. He's worried about why she's crying, but Mitchell's tears are of relief. The questions are all problems she knows how to solve. She vividly recalls Reyna teaching her one function, one integral, one extreme value, one integer, and one particularly challenging problem. All now burning brightly in her mind. Reyna showed her this problem. She also warned Mitchell that it's a trap since it's just a matter of hard work. She decides to do it. Mitchell flips through the pages and realizes she's already done with the paper, with 20 minutes still left. It feels like a miracle. Teacher Reyna has created a miracle for her. Mitchell finally understands the grace of a good teacher, comparing it to heaven. The scene shifts to Mitchell preparing for another challenge, a practical exam, a battle. She brings her sword forward, declaring that this is entirely separate from the earlier math exam. Reyna appears with her own sword, ready to fight, claiming she'll defeat Mitchell and gain the right to eat snacks on her bed. Mitchell counters, stating that if she wins, she'll put up a partition in the room. Reyna swings her sword, dismissing the idea of a partition. Her heavy axe swings like a toy, forcing Mitchell to defend herself. Mitchell thinks Reyna is a reckless guerrilla, wielding her weapon with no strategy. Normally, with a weapon as heavy as a war hammer, one would aim for openings, but Reyna gives Mitchell no such chance. Mitchell decides she'll need a different strategy. She charges head-on, which Reyna mocks as reckless. Reyna swings her axe toward Mitchell, warning there's no way to dodge. However, Mitchell has a plan. She endures minimal damage and closes the distance. Using a rope, she wraps it around Reyna's neck, pulls her closer, and knees her in the stomach. Reyna falls to the ground, defeated. The teacher announces Mitchell as the winner, awarding her an A+. Unfazed by the result, Mitchell hits Reyna for multiple reasons: for making her drag her around the campus, for making her study math all night, and for the sorrow of losing her comfortable single room. The teacher intervenes, warning Mitchell to stop, as if she hit more than this she will have to face sanctions. Reluctantly, Mitchell lets it go for now. She ranks first in the practical exam, securing high scores in all subjects. Afterward, the teacher tells Mitchell someone has come to visit her, asking her to go to the visiting room. She's confused, and the teacher adds that it's her younger brother waiting in the visiting room. At the academy's visiting hours, Mitchell's brother calls her out, demanding to know what is going on with the strange cotton thread and the dazzling clothes. Mitchell is just as confused as Chirp and asks what he means by all this. Chirp questions if Mitchell had been lying about attending the Magic Academy. Mitchell counters by asking if this isn't the university, but she guesses it's because he is still a first-year student in the School of Magic. The place looks less like a visiting room and more like a prisoner's waiting area. Mitchell then asks why Chirp is there, and he replies that there was a delivery of a living creature. Mitchell wonders what living creature he's talking about. Chirp opens the cage, revealing a lizard. Mitchell ponders where this lizard could have come from. At first glance, it seems to be a venomous snake with distinct stripes on its skin. However, upon closer inspection, Mitchell finds the lace monitor lizard to be very cute. The security personnel shout at Mitchell to stay back, but eventually they hand over the lizard to her. Mitchell finds it even cuter when she sees it up close. Chirp thinks he might know the reason why Mitchell received a mating proposal from the Water King. Mitchell is confused about why a lizard is involved all of a sudden, but Chirp replies that it will be a long story. At the Tower of the Beast King, someone approaches Gertrude, the Beast King's father, and asks him to stand in the middle for a picture. All three of them, Gertrude, Hubert, and the other person, stand together for a congratulatory ceremony celebrating the remodeling of the Tower of the Beast King. Looking at the picture, Hubert states that the remodeling work is finally finished and wonders if it took a month. He remarks that although there were many complaints about the smell coming from the lower floors, he's glad the work was completed safely. He tells Gertrude that there were some areas that received extra focus during the remodeling process. Gertrude grows curious about these parts. Hubert explains that in the corpse disposal facility, they now dry and age the bodies thoroughly so they can be used as fertilizer for farmland. Gertrude, amused by this innovation, comments that it's environmentally friendly and that this year's rice harvest will be abundant. Hubert adds that they also cleaned up and reorganized the garbage dump and planted birch trees to give the area a Nordic feel. Gertrude points out that everyone these days seems to be obsessed with Nordic trends. Gertrude recalls that he was told everything would be completely remodeled, along with postponed cleaning, but it seems they've made changes here and there. He admits the tower looks much more refined compared to before. Hubert grows excited to leave and suggests going to Mitchell's house to deliver an invitation. Gertrude, so focused on the remodeling, has lost track of time and can't believe it's been a month. He wonders if a month is considered a long time by human standards. Gertrude remembers how, back when the Dragon King took a nap, he cried because his close human friend had died. He wonders if this could happen again. Before he can dwell on this thought, Hubert runs to him, claiming there's a big problem. Gertrude becomes worried, asking if something has happened to Mitchell or if she might have died within the month. Hubert explains that Mitchell has entered the capital's academy and won't return until the vacation. Holding Chirp, who is trembling, Gertrude comments that for a human to attend school means they have a long time left to live, so it shouldn't be a problem. Hubert insists that it is a problem, explaining that Mitchell has entered Crowell Academy, one of the most prestigious schools on the continent. Hubert prompts his father to think about how many cool people she might meet there. He worries aloud about the possibility of Mitchell getting into a relationship or even getting married. Gertrude is confused and doesn't understand what Hubert means. Hubert elaborates, stating that Mitchell has eyes and will obviously prefer someone lively. Gertrude confidently replies that he is lively too. Hubert shouts back that no, the person who is lively is him. Realizing his point, Hubert explains that Mitchell might enjoy spending time with people her age more. Gertrude thinks it over and concedes that friends of the same age are indeed important. But he reasons that it's okay because she will return during the vacation. Hubert, however, is still concerned, wondering what will happen if she decides to settle down with someone in the capital and never comes back. This thought troubles Gertrude, who had never considered the possibility of Mitchell not returning. Meanwhile, Mitchell finally speaks up, stating that she's heard Gertrude wants to marry her. The Beast King Gertrude replies that Mitchell will not marry him. Chirp chimes in, claiming that Gertrude himself said he would mate with Mitchell. Gertrude confidently replies that he does consider mating with Mitchell in the future. Chirp, stunned, calls him a scoundrel. The shock causes Chirp to revert to his human form. He accuses Gertrude of being ungrateful to his benefactor and asks how he can talk about mating without taking responsibility. Gertrude, confused, wonders since when not taking responsibility made someone a scoundrel. He is utterly puzzled about what taking responsibility even means. Hubert covers Chirp's face and urges his father to check on Mitchell's situation instead. Gertrude rises from his chair, stating that they can figure out the responsibility part later. Suddenly, Gertrude slashes off his own arm. Chirp watches in horror, believing the crazy Beast King has finally lost it. Hubert runs to his father, insisting that cutting off one of his tails would have been enough for surveillance purposes, but Gertrude insists that the arm is more effective. Hubert grows teary, worried about his father's injury, and thinks that Gertrude might recreate his arm using the mechanical limbs he developed while making Hubert. As they watch, the severed arm transforms into a lizard. Hubert observes that the lizard is too large for surveillance purposes. Chirp is utterly confused, wondering how Gertrude can create life like this. Even if he is the Beast King, one of the 4 great demon kings, creating life should be a power reserved for the gods, not an alter ego. However, this lizard is not like an alter ego. It acts independently, with its own consciousness, and seems completely separate from the Beast King. Chirp wonders who on earth Gertrude truly is. Gertrude orders Chirp to take the lizard to Mitchell. Chirp questions how he's supposed to carry something so heavy, but Gertrude provides the cost for a round-trip carriage and living expenses. Both Gertrude and Hubert bid him farewell. Chirp tells Mitchell the story, but with a version that's slightly different from reality. Mitchell is happy that Gertrude went to such lengths for her to enter the academy. She mentions that, according to Chirp, she can randomly share visions or convey messages with Gertrude. Chirp confirms this but silently wonders if Mitchell truly doesn't know anything about the surveillance. He states that now the delivery is complete, he will take his leave, but Mitchell tells him to stop. Narrowing her eyes, she accuses Chirp of rushing off suspiciously fast and wonders if he is hiding something from her. Chirp looks back and flinches. Mitchell demands Chirp to tell her the truth. She states that she knows Chirp not only received transportation fare, but also pocket money from Gertrude. This shocks Chirp, leaving him to wonder how she knows this. Mitchell questions how much he received, but Chirp, believing it's not much, states that it's 50,000 crowns. However, Mitchell points out that he must have received 100,000. Mitchell demands that he hand it over, and Chirp cries, asking why, as it is the pocket money he was given. Mitchell clarifies that she isn't trying to take it away. Instead, she explains that if he just carries it around, he will lose it, pointing out how many pickpockets are in the city. Chirp grows worried about the possibility of being pickpocketed. Mitchell suggests that if he gives it to her, except for the fare to get back, she will keep it safe and return it to him when he goes home for vacation. She adds that if he doesn't trust her, they can write a contract. Chirp becomes excited at the idea of writing a contract. He raises his hand and agrees, stating that she must return it to him during vacation. Mitchell promises, but internally she thinks what a foolish boy he is for truly believing she will return it. Instead, she plans to spend it all and never return it, with no intention of denying it. Mitchell believes it's wonderful to have younger siblings. As Mitchell walks, she thinks about naming the little lizard she has. Since it's white, she considers calling it Whitey. Just then, someone calls out to her. Hearing Sion's voice, Mitchell becomes excited, but Sion angrily shouts at her, asking where she has been, as today is the book return day. Mitchell ponders about the book return day and remembers that today was indeed the last day to return that embarrassing signboard. She has been so busy that she completely forgot. Sion yells, asking if she wants to embarrass him on purpose. At that moment, the lizard jumps off Mitchell, lands on Sion, bites his leg, and makes him run around in a panic. Mitchell shouts at the lizard, demanding it calm down, pointing out that Sion is no different from a paper doll. She catches the lizard and scolds it, asking who told it to behave like that. Then she turns to Sion, questioning if he's fine or hurt anywhere, though it's clear that he's not okay at all. Mitchell wonders if Sion, even as a powerless prince, might be executed this time. In the nurse's office, Sion shouts that he will kill her, declaring that this time he will definitely have her executed. Mitchell thinks to herself that if he keeps making a fuss like this, someone will hear them. Realizing there's no other option, she takes something from her pocket and drinks it, pointing out that she'll have to put him to sleep using the emergency sleeping pills Cana gave her. She places her hand on Sion, who questions what she's drinking all of a sudden, but before he can react, she kisses him. Flustered, Sion screams loudly, asking what she is doing and what she just fed him. More importantly, he insists this doesn't count. Mitchell asks if this was his first kiss, but Sion insists it doesn't count as his first kiss. However, he then questions if this wasn't her first kiss, and Mitchell, after some thought, realizes it was her first time as well. Whether it was her first kiss or not, she knows that he dislikes it, though she doesn't understand why. Wishing he would fall asleep because he's too noisy, she hits his neck and demands he sleep already. Mitchell thinks to herself that since he took the sleeping pills, he should sleep soundly now. She then plans to inspect the wound to destroy any evidence. Of course, she is confident that Gertrude wouldn't send anything dangerous, but since it might be poisonous, it would be wise to consult Cana about it. When she removes his clothes, she notices the scars on his legs. They appear to be from being beaten or whipped. The scars don't seem recent, but rather old, and there are also burn marks in areas that aren't visible, along with traces of something that was cauterized and healed. Mitchell wonders if the smell of medicine she noticed before could be because of this. No matter how powerless Sion is, he's still a prince. Mitchell reasons that there are probably very few people who would remain unharmed after injuring a prince. This means the person who made these scars must hold a position so high that Sion can't even speak out against them. For example, it could be the emperor, the empress, or maybe even the crown princess. Though Mitchell couldn't solve the mystery of Sion's scars, she is relieved to learn from Cana, an expert in poisons, that the wound from the lizard bite was no problem. It seems the lizard bit him with its gums, hiding its venomous teeth. As expected, the lizard has a good nature, just like after all Gertrude gave it as a gift. Mitchell concludes that her Whitey is truly kind. Now that Sion's issue is resolved, Mitchell focuses on the long-awaited garden announcement. She looks at the board and laughs, declaring that she did it. She is in first place, and with this, her terminally ill life is over. It's clear that the status abnormality has disappeared from the status window. Of course, there were several crises, like the sleeping pills incident and injuries to the royal family, but she overcame them all and lifted the abnormal status. Moreover, thanks to the evaluation that their class is unusually calm for the magic department, all first-year students were given magic needle exchange permits. Mitchell is thrilled, knowing that now she can enjoy her free campus life. Just as she is leaving, someone calls out to her. She looks back to see a girl with black hair and black eyes, undoubtedly of the Crowell royal bloodline. It's the third princess, Sarah Crowell. Sarah demands that Mitchell become her comrade. Mitchell declares boldly that she is the female lead of Repentance of the Dawn. Mitchell remembers that during this time, she is usually with Reina, but then she thinks about switching her focus from Reina to herself because she has taken the top spot. However, she wonders why, in the first place, the third princess was hanging out with the top students in the original story. As far as Mitchell remembers, the princess had no interest in the throne. Someone else suddenly squeezes in. The boy states that he knows this might be confusing but requests her to please listen to what Princess Sarah has to say for a moment. This is the same Princess Sarah, the Eastern Warbler, that Mitchell saw at the entrance ceremony. It is nice that they offered Mitchell a companion since she is the top student, different from the original story. But staying near them would only get her involved and lead her to death. So Mitchell knows it is better to refuse. She blandly states that she has no intention of becoming Sarah's companion. Suddenly, blood starts coming from her mouth. Sarah rushes to her, asking if she is all right, and the boy rushes to find a doctor. Mitchell wonders why this is happening, as the terminal condition status should have disappeared. Then she notices the terminal again on the screen and wonders what the number 5 even means. At the end, she thinks it might be a countdown pattern, going from 5 to 4. She is indeed right. Mitchell calls out to Sarah, who asks if she is in a lot of pain. Mitchell loudly screams that she will join the club and think about what to do next. All excited, Sarah states that it's a name club, so Mitchell must have been interested in the club she created. Sarah eagerly writes Mitchell's name on the membership form. The Warbler offers Mitchell a napkin to clean herself and apologizes, saying the princess can be a bit insistent. Mitchell can tell just by looking at her. However, the boy tells her that Sarah is really a nice person. Mitchell can see that he is completely bewitched by her. Sniffing the napkin, Mitchell remarks that she will wash it and return it to Sarah. Shocked, the Warbler points out that she can keep it, as it's a cheap one. Mitchell is confused as to why the Warbler is bowing to her, but it makes sense. In the original novel, the Warbler was able to use transportation magic, but he was considered non-combat and never participated in fights. The princess always protected him. When Mitchell bows to reject Sarah's offer, she is unable to bow properly. Still, Mitchell is confused as to why she is bowing to this common Eastern Warbler. She looks at him, determined to know what kind of creature he is. Anyway, since everything seems suspicious, but she has already joined, she decides she might as well fulfill some of her own desires. Mitchell has a condition for joining the club. Sarah questions what the condition is. Mitchell wants Sarah to include Sion in the club as a member too, but Sarah seems not to know who Sion is. The Warbler whispers to Sarah that Sion Crowell is her elder brother, who is older than her by 1 year. Sarah is shocked to learn that her brother attends the academy. Meanwhile, Mitchell cries over how insignificant Sion seems. Sarah clears her throat and assures Mitchell that making Sion join the club is easy. They all move to Sion's residence, which is located within the academy's residential area. Sarah screams from the outside for Sion to come out. The Warbler, ever innocent, suggests that since Sion isn't responding, he's probably not home, but Sarah is sure Sion is at home. She kicks the door, breaking it, and barges in. As expected from the princess famously called the back alley princess in fan cafes, the Warbler innocently advises her that breaking the door was unnecessary. Sion appears, coughing, and demands an explanation. He asks Sarah what she thinks she's doing and reminds her of how much the front door costs to fix. Sarah dismisses his concerns and bluntly tells Sion to join her club. Sion angrily questions her intentions. The Warbler, acting as a peacemaker, asks both the prince and princess to calm down. However, Sion furiously snaps at him, questioning how a low person like him dares to interrupt. This makes Sarah twitch with anger. Mitchell, clearly enjoying the scene, thinks that at this rate it might end up as a bloodbath. She calls Sion stupid for daring to tease the warbler in front of Sarah. Sarah suddenly turns away and walks toward Mitchell, making her wonder why. Sarah slaps Mitchell and tells Sion to watch what he says, adding that the warbler is not lowly and that Sion cannot belittle him just because he was born into the royal family. Sion is furious and demands to know why Mitchell was dragged into this. Sarah coldly replies that since the warbler is precious to her, she decided to humiliate someone who is precious to Sion in return. Sion flinches, confused by her words. When Sarah raises her hand to slap Mitchell again, Sion grabs her hand and says he will apologize to the warbler if she stops. However, Sarah insists that if Sion is truly sorry, he must join her club. Sion grudgingly agrees but states he will only write his name and nothing more. Turning away, Sarah apologizes to Mitchell, admitting that even though she needed Sion's permission to join the club, she was wrong to slap her. She offers Mitchell a chance to hit her back as compensation. Mitchell is amused, wondering if Sarah realizes she is a princess. After all, who would dare hit a princess with full force? Still, Mitchell decides she will gladly do it. Warming up, she warns Sarah that she is strong, and the slap will hurt. Sarah, prepared, reminds Mitchell that she hit her off guard, so the shock must have been greater. Mitchell slaps Sarah as hard as she was slapped. Sion grabs Mitchell's hand, scolding her for not going easy. Sarah raises her hand and points out that there's still one hit left. Mitchell replies that it's fine. After all, Sarah is truly a princess. All swallowed by hits, Sarah announces that she will now go recruit other members and wishes Sion and Mitchell a good time together. Sion, visibly trembling with anger, shouts have a good time his ass and points Mitchell to get out of his house. Mitchell, the innocent female lead, gets kicked out of her lover's house. She wanted to explore Sion's house more. Suddenly, a voice speaks, startling her. Mitchell wonders where this voice is coming from. It's Gertrude, who says it's been a long time since they last met. Mitchell recognizes Gertrude's voice but wonders how it's possible. She speculates that it might be the random functioning communication chirp mentioned before. Gertrude asks how she has been. She replies that she is doing well, has entered the magic department safely, and has become the top student. As expected, Gertrude informs her that the remodeling of the Beast Tower has been completed and asks her to make sure to visit. She agrees, saying she will come during vacation. Suddenly, Gertrude directs her to walk 50 meters in the 2 o'clock direction. Mitchell questions why, and Gertrude responds that there's someone he knows. Mitchell is confused, wondering who at the academy Gertrude could know. It was strange for Beats Kane to have an acquaintance in the academy. She ponders what kind of person they might be. The two walk together and reach the second dean's room. Mitchell wonders if the person Gertrude knows is Dean. Gertrude urges Mitchell to ring the bell, even though Mitchell doesn't want to be there under any circumstances. She reluctantly rings the bell, and the image of the dean appears. He immediately questions what brings her there and promptly asks if she has finally chosen him as her advisor. Mitchell thinks to herself that this is something that will never happen in her lifetime. Mitchell, holding Gertrude, states that she has heard the dean and Gertrude know each other. The dean looks startled, and Mitchell wonders about the sudden change in his demeanor. The dean turns his face away, and Gertrude, in his lizard form, questions if the dean has no shame. The reaction reminds Mitchell of how the dean acted when they first met. The lizard jumps to the ground and tells Mitchell he will chat with the dean for a while. Mitchell grows concerned about whether she will be able to return home. Gertrude reassures her that he cannot return on his own, but Whitey can help her. Mitchell thinks to herself that Whitey is indeed very smart. Now that the communication permit has been issued, Mitchell decides to go for a walk before heading back. She enjoys her time alone for a while. The status window no longer shows a time limit condition, which allows Mitchell to attend school without any problems. Occasionally, when the communication line is clear, Mitchell talks with Gertrude and Hubert, enjoying a peaceful life. This is the campus life she always dreamed of, the ordinary college life. Walking on the school grounds, Mitchell hopes things will remain this way. During class, the teacher announces that today's practical combat class will be an exchange session with the Combat Techniques department. The Combat Techniques students step forward, mocking the Magic department students, saying they look boring and confidently claiming they will secure the top score this year as well. The Magic department students retort that they won't lose this time. However, Mitchell seems uninterested. The Combat Techniques students boast that their group includes the famous Northern Grand Duke Eugene. Mitchell is shocked and turns around, wondering if the Northern Duke has really come forward. Eugene clarifies that he is not a Grand Duke but a Marquess, and his father is still alive. His classmates proudly exclaim if anyone has heard of him, referring to him as Killer Eugene. Eugene, embarrassed, insists he is not a killer but simply Eugene, the Northern Spear Duke. Eugene is a character from The Repentance of the Dawn. In the novel, he was heavily utilized on the battlefield, earning the title of Grand Duke of the North. He fought silently to protect his wife despite being exploited by the imperial family, but ultimately died a tragic death due to his sins. However, that event is far in the future. During his school days, Eugene does not hold the title of Grand Duke, but everyone naturally calls him that because he fits the image perfectly. Eugene is 190 centimeters tall, with hair as dark as the night sky and sharp red eyes that seem to bleed. His massive, solid chest and thighs appear ready to burst with muscle. His devoted nature and love for women make him extremely popular on fan sites. Mitchell never understood his popularity when she read about him, but seeing him in person, she thinks the combat techniques uniform suits him well. The way it clings to his sharp collarbones makes Mitchell involuntarily whistle. Grit, irritated, asks what is making Mitchell so excited. Startled, she replies aloud that it's fun to watch. Grit questions if she likes looking at fat men. Mitchell corrects him, saying it's not fat but muscles. Grit retorts that he has muscles too. Mitchell explains that while Grit's muscles are natural, Eugene's are built through hard work, making them completely different. Grit, feeling sad, mutters his disappointment. Mitchell wonders if Grit's mood is due to being suddenly summoned for communication and advises him to get some rest. Grit takes his leave, and Mitchell tells Whitey they need to work on their timing, but Whitey seems disinterested. Frustrated, Mitchell reminds him that she feeds and takes care of him, yet he always sides with his father. Someone from the combat techniques department steps forward, proposing a challenge. Whoever beats their Grand Duke will earn the glorious coat. Mitchell thinks she wouldn't take that ugly coat even if they begged her. They ask who is the strongest in the magic department and who ranked first in the practical combat midterms. Mitchell points to Reina, stating she got first place. Reina, confused, wonders if Mitchell has finally accepted her as a rival or as a comrade in times of crisis. But Mitchell's reason is far simpler. She finds the situation embarrassing and annoying. Reina, excited, declares she will win. With everything seemingly resolved, Mitchell decides to watch from a distance. Suddenly, the teacher calls out to Mitchell, informing her that the combat department professor is looking for her. Mitchell is introduced to the professor as the student who ranked first in the midterms. The professor opens a briefcase and reveals a prototype gun from the magic workshop, boasting that it could sell for millions. She asks Mitchell to imbue the bullets with magic. Mitchell refuses, explaining that doing so would leave her coughing blood for an entire week. The professor sighs and says if it's that difficult, there's no helping it. However, as the professor prepares to leave, she casually mentions that the gun is worth $100 million. Swayed by the money, Mitchell reluctantly agrees, even if it means coughing blood. She locks the deal and starts the task, soon coughing blood as predicted. She regrets her decision, thinking she will die at this rate, but consoles herself that the money was too good to pass up. More importantly, Mitchell is relieved that there's no news from Sarah. She was worried about joining a club full of incidents, but it seems Princess Sarah and her aide are attending school without issues. In the original story, they would have been caught up in a dangerous dungeon by now. Suddenly, Mitchell hears a familiar sound. She believes it can't be happening and scolds herself for thinking something bad would happen, calling it too cliché. However, the status screen updates, showing, Dawn has updated. Dr. Bruno's secret dungeon must be cleared, or she will die. Trembling with anger, Mitchell screams in frustration, wondering if she will ever get a moment to rest. Dr. Bruno's secret dungeon in the original story is first encountered by the princess and her party while searching for the clubroom. In their attempt to locate the secret laboratory inside, they face death multiple times. One might assume, as with any dungeon, that they must battle monsters. However, this dungeon is unlike any other. There are no monsters, not a single one, because the dungeon is meant to house forbidden books, and these books must remain undamaged. Releasing monsters would risk destroying the books. So the real question arises, how does this dungeon protect the books from intruders? The answer lies in the countless traps and the maze that lines the path. Artifacts cause confusion while interfering with skills, and the environment itself is inhospitable, offering not even a drop of water. It is truly a setting designed for survival battles. The main characters consider these episodes more dreadful than the scene where they fought the Demon King. Voluntarily entering such a dungeon seems unbearable. Yet here we are, Mitchell, having meticulously packed bottled water, food, antibodies, and other essentials, is perfectly prepared for the challenge. She has successfully completed the professor's assignment and decides that the weekend is the perfect time to enter the dungeon. Since there was no mention of meeting multiple people to conquer it, Mitchell resolves to go alone, clear the dungeon, and return. At the former School of Magic Dean's laboratory, Mitchell stands at the entrance. She knows the lab has been abandoned for over 10 years since the previous dean was imprisoned as a political criminal. Just looking at it gives the impression that ghosts might appear. There is a reason this sinister place hasn't been demolished and remains untouched. Whenever attempts were made to demolish the building, people went missing. It's believed they were warped into the dungeon while inspecting the dean's office. If the disappearances were the only problem, that would be one thing. However, the real issue is that those who vanished returned alive but completely changed. Once, an entire demolition crew disappeared as a group, only to return suddenly as radical social activists. These sudden disappearances and drastic personality changes have led to the lab being abandoned and considered haunted. Mitchell, fully aware of the whole story, steps into the dean's office. She suspects the princess may have accidentally triggered an artifact, leading to this whole ordeal. Frustrated, Mitchell breaks a window and demands for it to come forward. In a fit of stress relief, she decides to smash everything, muttering to herself about where the artifact might be and what she should break next. Suddenly, Mitchell hears a voice. Someone from the other side yells. Confused, Mitchell wonders who could be there. Sarah, on the other side, slams the door and demands to know what's happening. Mitchell is baffled as to why the princess is here. She hadn't expected anyone to come looking for a club room until now, and of all times, why today? Frustrated, Mitchell yells at the princess not to come any closer, but it's too late. Sarah has already punched through the wall. A piece from the wall falls behind Mitchell and lands on a hidden button. Mitchell screams, wondering why the button had to be there of all places. Regardless, it doesn't help now. She hopes only those inside the room are affected, but the entire building begins to warp. Mitchell sits cross-legged, fuming with anger, while Sarah sits trembling in front of her. Mitchell scolds her for coming when she was clearly told not to. Sarah apologizes, but Mitchell snaps, questioning if Sarah thinks that's enough. Warbler steps forward to defend Sarah, explaining that she didn't mean any harm. However, before he can finish, Mitchell growls angrily, brings out her rod, and hits him. Mitchell calls Warbler a stubborn brat and scolds him for hiding his strength even in this situation. Despite being stronger than the princess, she sneers, calling him a useless chickadee, and mocks that while copperhead birds are pretty and cute, creatures like him are utterly useless. Sarah mentions that Mitchell's statement can be overlooked as she protests, saying Warbler is lovely and cute. But Mitchell snaps back, saying that's only in the princess's eyes. Objectively, she declares their albino much cuter, calling the princess a nuisance. Sarah, shocked at being called a nuisance, protests that she always tries her best. Mitchell retorts that Sarah has never experienced hardships, so what could she possibly know about the people's livelihoods? Sarcastically, she suggests that if Sarah loves commoners so much, she should try living on 1,000,000 crowns for a month. Sarah is appalled, explaining that's only enough for her 2-day snack money. Mitchell continues, asking if Sarah even knows the cost of renting a carriage for a day or the price of a piece of jade bread, the national snack. Sarah, visibly flustered, asks Mitchell to refrain from these kinds of questions. Before Sarah can say more, Sion starts mocking her for acting so proud earlier and now looking ridiculous. Mitchell glares at Sion and tells him to shut up. Sion, shocked, questions what she just said. He accuses her of being arrogant, saying he's been trying hard to put up with her and she doesn't appreciate it. Mitchell twitches with anger as what did he just said and grabs him and throws him to the ground, scolding him. She sarcastically calls him a rascal and says she only finds him cute, nothing more. Looking around for her next victim, Mitchell spots Raina, who is trembling. Raina insists she hasn't done anything wrong, but Mitchell snaps, saying she just hates her and doesn't even want to share a small space with her, calling her a trash gorilla. When she turns to Eugene, she pauses, pleased. She notes Eugene has strong survivability and doesn't rely solely on skills, which could be useful against skill-blocking artifacts. She pats him and declares he might be useful, leaving Eugene wondering if she's serious. Mitchell decides to first reveal this to the thieves who will steal her food and water in the future, as all of them are standing quietly for her. Judging from Mitchell's belongings, it looks like she came here knowing that there's a dungeon in this place. She plans talk about the details gradually, but first decides to distribute the supplies. Raina asks if Mitchell can't use her magic to solve the water issue. Mitchell, impressed by the sharp question as expected from a gorilla, explains that she tested before coming here, but her magic makes the water salty, likely because she subconsciously imagines seawater due to being from Elam. Sarah bluntly says, "What are they even talking about, Lady Lethem? Then it means Mitchell is a Nephthys." Her words hang in the air, but before she can say anything further, Mitchell's sharp glare cuts her off mid-sentence. Mitchell orders the princess to follow her. Reaching the wall, she suddenly slams her against it. Mitchell demands where did she get that information, suspecting the royal institution. Sarah sutters, but Mitchell's glares intensely determined to know how Sarah knew she was a Nephthys. Sarah states that no matter how she looks at her, in her eyes, Mitchell only appears as Nephthys with freckles and glasses. To Sarah Jr., it seems like Mitchell wanted to hide her identity, which is why she treated her as Evan Rafe. However, Sarah is curious about how Mitchell has managed to avoid getting caught until now. Mitchell thinks she is a very clever woman, believing nobody knew her secret, so she thought it was perfect. After receiving a promise from the princess to keep her identity secret, they return to where everyone is gathered. Mitchell begins explaining that, according to her investigation, there are artifacts in this area that affect skills. She questions what might happen if someone uses a dangerous skill. Suddenly, Reyna activates her skill, Flame. Mitchell shouts at her for interrupting, as she was in the middle of explaining something. Reyna, however, insists she just wanted to light up the area with a small spark, wondering what is going on. In the end, Reyna gets reprimanded and beaten up. Mitchell continues, explaining that controlling mana is difficult in this area, so it's better not to rely on skills. Fortunately, there are no monsters in the maze, so they just need to watch out for traps. She begins distributing water. Reyna and Eugene are given one bottle. The princess and her aides share one bottle, and Sion and Mitchell get one bottle. Sion screams in frustration, questioning why Reyna and Eugene get a whole bottle individually while he and Mitchell have to share one. Mitchell replies curtly, explaining it is because Reyna and Eugene will work harder from now on. Sion protests, saying that if it's about physical power, but before he can finish, Mitchell interrupts him, telling him to stop spouting nonsense. She boasts that she can defeat him without using any skills, just with her fingers. Eugene hesitantly asks what Mitchell means by using your body, hoping it isn't about carrying luggage. Mitchell explains their roles. She will draw a map of the paths they've taken so far, while Eugene and Reyna are to stand at the front and protect the food and water for her. Eugene questions why they need to protect her when there are no monsters around. Realizing it's a trap, he exclaims in disbelief that using their body means they'll be her meat shields. Eugene and Reyna immediately run for their lives, with Reyna calling Mitchell a crazy woman. Mitchell justifies their task, stating that they need to pay for having a bottle of water to themselves. Sion whispers to Mitchell, suggesting that he thinks half a bottle of water might be enough for him and that he can even go without drinking for a day. Seeing how quickly he changes his tune, Mitchell finds it amusing and cute. After some time, Eugene and Reyna, tired from running, return. Mitchell praises them, calling them well-done meat, but quickly corrects herself, referring to them as leaders. She then explains the next step, closing the valve at the end of the corridor to stop the traps. This, she says, is how they'll be able to cross it safely. At the crossroads, Reyna offers to take the lead, telling Eugene to rest this time. Mitchell watches Reyna and muses that she is a loyal kid for taking the lead, thinking she has indeed chosen the right meat shield. Reyna decides to start with the right path, but something begins falling like rain. When Reyna extends her arm forward, her blazer gets a hole burned into it. Sarah points out that it seems to be a powerful acid. Her aide believes they won't be able to proceed. Mitchell notices they are saying the same thing as described in the novel she read. The corridor reacts to impacts on the walls and floors, releasing sulfuric acid rain. Because of this, the original team had no choice but to take the left path and wander for over a day before discovering that the valve controlling the acid rain was at the end of the right passage. This made the right path the shortest route to the destination. Determined, Mitchell decides to move forward. Reyna shouts at her, asking what she thinks she's doing. Mitchell knows that Erythine fabric won't dissolve immediately from the acid, it will melt if it accumulates. Reyna, concerned, questions her plan. Mitchell covers her head with her blazer, explaining that she's preparing to run. Instead of wasting time taking the longer path, she plans to charge ahead at full speed and reach the valve. Despite the warnings, Mitchell starts running, with others calling her a reckless, crazy woman from behind. Mitchell thinks to herself that if she can hold out until she reaches the valve, she'll be fine. Sarah calls out, pointing to something on her left, but Mitchell keeps going. Finally reaching the valve, Mitchell discovers it's a trap. She debates using her gun, as magic is too risky. She had planned to sell the gun without registering it to save money, but a notification pops up, confirming that the gun is now registered to Mitchell and one other person. Frustrated but determined, she reloads the gun, aims carefully, and hits the target, praising her accuracy. Luckily, the magic stored in the bullets isn't affected by the artifact. However, something is wrong. She screams in pain as the acid rain begins to take its toll. On the other side, the others notice Mitchell's worsening condition. Despite this, she manages to turn the wheel on the wall, stopping all the traps. She calls out to the group, telling them it's safe to come over now. Upon reaching her, they all question her recklessness. Noticing her clothes full of holes, Sion covers his face in embarrassment, wondering what she's doing. He quickly offers her his coat to put on. Eugene also tries to give her his jacket, but Reina steps in, insisting that Mitchell wear her clothes instead. Reina begins to take off her clothes, causing Mitchell to scream in disbelief, questioning if Reina has lost her mind. Mitchell demands to know why Reina has taken off her skirt, wondering aloud if Reina possesses some sort of exposure certificate. Reina, however, calmly replies, asking what Mitchell means by an exposure certificate, when she is still wearing underwear. Mitchell, flustered, calls Reina dirty. Water is being poured over Mitchell's burnt hand. Eugene quickly covers her hand with a cloth, knowing that this is the only treatment they can provide for now. He insists that they should go back before the injury worsens. However, Mitchell reassures him that there is no need to worry. She has prepared for situations like this and brought antibodies with her. Without hesitation, she consumes them, confident that even in a world of magic, antibodies remain the best treatment for inflammation. Sarah praises Mitchell's foresight, impressed by her thorough preparations. Mitchell then recalls an incident from her childhood when she suffered from a high fever for 10 days after being scratched by a tree branch. Sarah laughs, commenting that she must have been through a lot. Before she can say anything further, Mitchell tries to stop her by signaling, tightly gripping the bottle in her hand. Sion immediately yells at her for wasting their precious supply, while Sarah, panicked, gives a thumbs up, calling Mitchell their ace member. Mictel thinks to herself that Sarah was just about to call her Nephthys mad dog. They all continue moving further into the cave. After some time, Mitchell turns around, noting that they have traveled quite a distance. Deciding to take a break, she questions Eugene about his injury. Eugene dismisses her concern, stating that he is used to getting hurt. However, Mitchell finds it hard to believe that he was struck by an arrow in the leg and is still acting so composed. She acknowledges that it is expected from the Northern Duke, who has spent his entire life on the battlefield. Mitchell brings out food, knowing that everyone must be hungry. Eugene looks displeased as he points out that they are eating military rations. It is not surprising, considering his background, that he recognizes it at first glance. He then angrily states that taking military food out of the base is against the law. Mitchell casually replies that she is not the one who violated the law. Eugene insists on knowing who did. She tells him that he will find out once they return to the academy. Narrowing his eyes, he thanks her for such an honest report. Internally, Mitchell apologizes to the military members who sold her the food, wondering who really cares about the law in such circumstances. Sion, curious, snatches the food from Mitchell. Given that it is from the Royal Empire, he assumes it might be edible. Upon opening the bag, he finds bread, chocolate, and pieces of meat. Mitchell confidently declares it a perfect meal, as it contains all the necessary nutrients. The group, however, remains in denial. Sarah, in agony, declares that she will ask her father to improve the quality of military food. Eugene, on behalf of the Brandenburg army, expresses his gratitude. Sarah questions why he does not file a complaint himself. He explains that he eats officers' meals, making it less of a concern for him. Sarah insists that it is still important, as food is linked to soldiers' morale. Eugene acknowledges her point and promises to keep it in mind. Growing impatient, Reina suddenly shouts for everyone to stop complaining and just eat whatever is available. She declares that the first person to eat is the master. Like a spoiled noble, Sion sniffs the meat box and complains about its smell, questioning whether it is even real food. This catches Reina's attention. Without hesitation, she snatches the food from his hands, reasoning that he would not eat it anyway, and gulps it down in one bite. Sion stares at her in disbelief. Reina, satisfied, exclaims that it was surprisingly good and that she might actually survive a little longer now. Mitchell watches, feeling slightly depressed at the sight of her monstrous roommate devouring the food. Seeing Sion in shock after having his meal stolen, she suggests that he at least eat the chocolate, as it seems edible. Reluctantly, he starts eating, resembling a child being forced to finish his meal. Mitchell observes him with soft eyes, wondering how he can eat so pitifully, as if he is walking down a long, dark hallway. Annoyed by her gaze, Sion glares at why is she looking at him like that. Mitchell finds it adorable remarks on how amusing it is to watch him eat in such a dejected manner. Her words unexpectedly cause Reina, the so-called food monster, to lose her appetite. Sion, irritated, starts smacking Mitchell, demanding to know what nonsense she is spouting. Mitchell, rather than being upset, finds it amusing how he does not seem to feel any hesitation while hitting her. All the fatigue she had accumulated now melts away. After finishing their meal, the group resumes their journey. Reina notes that the traps seem to have decreased and asks Mitchell how much farther they have to go. Mitchell checks her map and concludes that while they are getting closer to their destination, they will likely have to endure another day of travel.